happens when I just start pushing buttons. Let me be the guy at the nuclear war place.
What's this do?
Let me push the red button.
What's this one do?
Yes.
You know, they do stuff like, don't push that button. And then for the rest of the conversation or briefing, you keep looking over at it.
Well, it's kind of like when you're sitting in a meeting, and no matter how ugly the person is, if the top of their underwear is hanging out of their butt, you continue to stare at it.
Yeah. We used to,
no matter if you tell yourself not to, you're like, Mike, don't do it. Damn it, you're doing it again. And this is you talking to yourself. Quit looking. I just want to peep. I just want to peep.
How do you know what I say?
Because we live in that world.
Yeah. You know what we used to do is, especially I had a group of guys that were all trained instructors, for deployment. And we would sit there with our notebooks and do tick marks every time they went,
That's funny.
Oh, and, of course, back in the 80s, we didn't have cell phones and all, but in 2008 we did. So you're texting each other. All the phones are going off, and nobody's paying attention to what's being trained. Military stuff.
I was going to say that's kind of like right now where nobody pays attention to what's being trained.
Oh God, I heard the funniest comment and you know what? I'm embarrassed. I don't even know what the guy's name is.
You embarrassed? I got to know what this is about.
Well, it's not really as bad as it sounds. I didn't ask some guy, can I help you if he was going to go change or nothing today, but remember from ESA. Yeah, it's great having a bipolar host.
I'm trying to do something. I'm listening to you, and you're like, and you remember yesterday, and I'm thinking, where did this conversation go from you're telling something to remember yesterday?
Well, you said about me being embarrassed.
Okay.
But the reason I was saying it's embarrassed is because I don't know the name of the guy who he's supposed to do his Republican bid for the presidency today.
I don't know either. So what makes you embarrassed about that?
Because I'm supposed to.
Because you're supposed to keep up with that?
Yeah, I'm supposed to know that stuff. And the crazy thing is there's like 4,000 people now. It was so funny. I saw something that said Republican 2016. And I said, wow, there's already over 2,000 people trying to be president. That's crazy.
Hey, I'm all for it. Somebody's bound to be good.
But this one guy today, he said, Mr. President, I'll make sure my kid doesn't eat too many Oreos. If you kill them some bitches, talk about IS, the Islamic State.
IRS, did you leave out the R?
Well, you know what? They say whatever. If we do get a Republican president, they almost all want to abolish the IRS.
I just believe the fair tax thing is just too easy to be working. Everybody would then just pay.
Why would you be against that?
Why would you be against that unless? Okay, let me word it this way. Here's a very good way of looking at things. The only person that would be pissed about you putting security cameras up at the bank would be the people that are hiding and stealing money. The only guys that would be mad that their wife has a security camera on the driveway are the guys that are sneaking women into the house. The only people that complain about getting DUIs are the people getting the DUIs.
Oh, buddy.
The only people complaining about burning their hands are the people that are burning their hands. So, again, if you're complaining about getting rid of the IRS, it's because you're funneling some money and you're being crooked.
You brought up banks. I just want to throw this out there because I've got that.
I bet a lot of people don't understand how banks work. If you'd like to explain it, go back to what you were going to say, but then let's bring up another point.
But here's the thing. I'm always thinking, because I did such high level security jobs and bodyguard work and junk like that. So I'm kind of always thinking that way. Okay, check this out, Scotty. Honestly, banks must spend literally millions of dollars. The bank that was here in Rockdale County, the little credit union, it was just a little corner of the strip mall right over there. They had a police officer there every hour that they were open, and they were paying the police officer $35 an hour.
Yes,
10 hours a day. So 5 days a week, $350 a day, blah, blah, blah. That's, that's $100,000, right? That's more than $100,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so listen, why does this not make sense to everybody else? You got a bank, let's say in New York, and they got those huge banks. Why not, like, right in the middle, have a guard tower?
Well, do you know in Mexico, this is just odd, but a friend of mine that used to work for a company called Scientific Atlanta that built cable boxes.
Yeah, they used to be here.
Yep.
So.
Right off Sugarloaf. Yep. So they had a plant that made the boxes in Juarez, Mexico.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He would go to Texas and then travel over the line through the gates and through the woods to grandma's house he went to get to Juarez, Mexico. Well, in Juarez, Mexico, they have these banks that have this really cool foyer in it. So if you went through this one set of double doors to come in from the street, then you would go into a foyer almost the size of the table. Mm-hmm. And there would be one set of double doors that you would go in, and then you would be in this basically foyer inside the building that you have to go through to pass through before you physically get into the bank where you see human beings.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason for this is, as he found out as he was standing there, when the bank gets robbed and the people are trying to run out, they go through the first set and everything locks. And these idiots are stuck in this foyer that has bulletproof glass. There's no I just caged the lion. Duh. It only makes sense.
It does. I mean,
how about this? Let's bring up this. Do you, and this is me talking to you kind of stupid, but it makes people think. So do you know why banks don't have a lot of cash all the time?
Well, I mean, one, they don't need it.
Right.
And two, robberies, I would imagine.
Well, also, think of this. They invest your money.
Oh, absolutely. Mm.
You don't realize as the consumer, as the customer, you're telling the bank, hold my money. Well, what you're doing is you're loaning the bank your money.
But you're not getting paid interest.
That's like your mom and dad. Right? When you were kids, I'll hold your Christmas money. And then they spend it for groceries. You never know that. It's not wrapped up in a sock in a drawer somewhere. And then when Christmas comes, they reimburse you your money. Well, banks take all your money and they're investing all these millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And they've got their stock in Apple. They got their stock in this and their stock in that. And they're making money off your money.
And charging you money.
And I was going to say, and you're paying them for a bank service.
Yeah. So when they put out a CD and it gets 2%, and do you know the rule of 72? You ever heard of the rule of 72? Basically what it is you take whatever number you're looking at, let's say $1,000, and you want to know how long it's going to take to turn into $2,000 utilizing compounding interest. You divide it by the interest rate. But you see what I'm saying is 72 breaks it down. So let's say if the interest rate is 12%, it'll take, let's see, 6 years. I'd do some of that quick math. It'll take 6 years to double. So if you invest money,
sorry, I'm snotty nose over here.
That's cool. If you invest money,
DJ Snotty
at 2%, obviously it's going to take 36 years to double. They don't teach that stuff in school.
Not anymore.
We're the only country that does not prepare, and this is just me, I don't think we prepare our kids. And any other school, and I lived in Europe for a while, and of course overseas, but about 9th grade, kids are required to start thinking about a trade. And then they start after they get their basics, then they start intern apprenticeships.
I know we're jumping subjects, but I can honestly tell you, I don't know what part of the U.S. history from my high school I've actually used in life. And the biggest part is I'm still trying to figure out how we went from, and this is talking through what my U.S. history preached.
Yeah.
How we went from Columbus to the Pilgrims to Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah.
There's a huge gap missing somewhere.
Well, that's where they had to come up with all the
huge gap. of information missing. And where did the U.S. history skip the part of how government was formed? Where Thomas Jefferson and all these other people did the things they did, and where'd all that gap miss? And the catch is that would truly be the information that we needed, not so much the Pilgrims and maybe a little of the MLK, but we needed to know government, and not so much to be able to go the political aspect of it, but as much as how the rules were made and why the rules were made. I'm just saying there's a lot of information, and quite frankly, I don't remember the last time I really used algebra, and I don't know that half the other crap that was taught. Health class was great. I needed to know how not to get a girl pregnant. I needed that information, but some of the other information was not all that great. I watched these movies like, what is it? Detergent. It's on the show channels now, the movie channels now. Digert, something like that.
Divergent.
My brain's I'm running so fast trying to come up with a name. But in this movie, at a certain age, the government says, they make you take a test,
right,
to show where you're smarter. Meaning
track you
where you will fit in better. Would you be a blue collar worker? Would you be a white collar worker? Would you be better as a farmer or an electrician? Or I hate to say that government should have that control, but I think as a school system, maybe we should start offering those as an option.
Yeah. Well, they do.
Because if you're the nerdy tech guy who can work on TVs, we need you to work on TVs. Well, no offense, my cousin Donnie, me and him grew up, and you could tell Donnie was a little, we call him geeks now, but he was nerds. a little geekier than me.
Yeah.
And I'm great at what I did physically with hands and get out there and dig ditches and do my electrical work and wire stuff. And my brain processed it that way.
Right.
He didn't do that. He didn't. Manual labor wasn't really a big thing for him, but the processing wiring stuff really wasn't. But now he works for a company and has for years where if they rehab a Delta plane or redo a cockpit or anything like that, he sits for hours and resolders and rebuilds boards, computer boards. And it's like, I would never have the patience for that.
Right.
I would never have the discipline to sit there and be able to do that. But he's great at it.
Yeah.
And he's a photographer, and he's very anal about things, so he gets it perfect.
Yeah.
He is great at that. So in his world, I may be laughed at, like, God, he's just a knuckle dragging brute.
Yeah.
And then in my world, people call him the geek. Right. But I think it's because, just the selection, if you will, the process of selection.
Well, I think you're absolutely right on that one. If you look at where people, okay, so right now they're crying and complaining because they want the minimum wage to be $15 an hour, which is theoretically impossible because then the price of a hamburger is going to go to $20. Happy Meal is going to be $18.95. But here's the deal. Let's be honest about this. If somewhere around 7th or 8th grade, somebody told you, Scotty, okay, Scotty, if they told you that you were going to go into a career in broadcasting, okay, and in 7th grade you said, okay, and you looked it all up and you said, wow, this is really what I want to do, okay, this will be great, and the future looks great, and this and that, you would try really, really hard every day.
Yeah.
You would put forth effort. You wouldn't cause problems in your class. You'd want to learn everything you'd want to do because you were career tracking. Now, kids today, I'll use my older brother. My older brother, you know how baseball players look like baseball players, professional players?
Yeah.
They all got that same look, just like Navy SEALs. They all look alike.
It's just like they say cops,
cops look alike.
Cops look alike.
All right. So my oldest brother, when he played high school baseball, he was amazing. He was freaking incredible at it. He could play just about every position, and he played it very well. But he didn't have a coach that kind of, supported him and shored him up and pushed him into college. And, probably, hey, that's my granddaughter. Not my granddaughter, but my goddaughter.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Annalise Roosman.
Quit paying attention to the screen,
I
sir.
can't help it. Squirrel. So here we are. And now my brother, he's owned his own business. He's a wealthy man. He does very well for himself. He's got a beautiful family. But the thing about it is he was never directed or he never received any guidance to go into professional sports.
Right.
So he never pursued it. Did he miss out on, multi-million-dollar contracts? And did he miss out on, the beach houses and stuff like that? It's hard to say because there can only be so many Major League Baseball players. But if we had a structure,
right.
If we had a structure where kids were identified, you would more than likely be identified to, and I don't know what kind of carpentry I don't know what kind of carpentry or what level of carpentry, my dad built homes. So you kind of got to have it together if you're going to build homes. But you see the radio station and you see the technology at this level for this particular industry. Seems like you got a pretty good handle on it to me, which of course I'm lying because we're live on the air. But if anybody,
hey, you just go with it, sir. Go with it.
If anybody saw the behind the scenes, you were just holding up a box by the cord about 20, 30 minutes ago. Remember, going
sort of.
Yeah. So
thank God there was no pictures of that.
But no, especially I was a roadie for my brother, my other brother's band. Now, here's a good point. Here's a guy that can't spell algebra. Yes, Chris, I'm picking on you if you're listening. He can't spell algebra. The dude is the most amazing exterior painter you've ever seen. Not an artistic painting, which you can do, but I'm talking about for your home and stuff, business. He's amazing. He's been doing it for 20 plus years. Makes a living at it and has stayed in business throughout this recession. Right now, he's working. Yeah, I'm not going to say the name because I don't know if that's okay or not. So, but he like Bobby Cox, the old manager of the Braves. John Sherholz. He's painted their homes and a bunch of the race car drivers. He's really, really good. But you should hear this guy on a guitar.
He's phenomenal, huh?
He's not really good on a guitar.
He's not.
No, not at all. He is freaking amazing on a guitar.
Have you ever tried to play guitar?
Oh yeah, I used to play.
So here's my thing. I attempted. What the hell? Like getting your finger, trying to get my left hand to do all the fingering it needs to do, and then trying to get my right hand to hit which metal wire that I'm supposed to hit. Because I don't care if you call it a guitar string or not. Yeah. It's metal. It's a wire, and I'm like, come on, brain. Yeah. Fingers on the left hand. You're not doing what the right hand's telling you to do.
Yeah. I play bass, actually. I used to rock.
I attempted to play bass.
Yeah, I was in a couple of bands growing up and stuff, and promoted a couple bands. I used to really dig it. Then I got old. It was fun when you could go to the bars and promote this.
Right.
Now, it's like 8:30. I'm like,
but knowing these people can do the things they do.
Yeah,
that's the cool part.
And so
but it's like me doing electrical. People don't get it. But in my brain, I can draw something as a map. Like if you tell me right now I need to get to so and so location, in my mind, as soon as I start telling you, I've already got a chalkboard and I'm already drawing it out. Mm-hmm. You can tell me how to get somewhere. I can look on a map one time and then go, okay, this is where I am as far as northeast, south, and here's where I'm going as far as northeast, south. And even if I don't remember all the turns, I know which direction I'm going and I can get there.
Yeah.
And we're looking at getting a canoe. This is a valid point. We're looking at getting this canoe. And my goal has always been to go from basically 7-8 Yellow River Game Ranch on Yellow River to Jackson Lake.
Cool.
So I've researched for years and years and years that
there's that one part you're not gonna
Yellow River actually is at 120 in Gwinnett, up at the Gwinnett Mall. Yeah. I mean, the Gwinnett Hospital, the medical, whatever. My point being is, after researching how it snakes and everything else, I already have it in my head, 3 places that I physically cannot travel down that river due to but that's my brain. I see it that way.
Right.
I can look at a wall and say, okay, I've explained to people thousands of times doing electrical work. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Mm-hmm.
You have to decide where your starting point is.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about working inside the house, then my panel is A. If we're talking about working overall the whole house, we say outside meter is A. But it all goes A to B,
Mm-hmm.
B to C, and that's how you have to troubleshoot. That's how you have to find stuff. And if L's not working, you have to figure out where M is, which direction it's coming from, left or right,
Sure.
and back up a spot. And a lot of people go, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Well, it's because some people have it and some people don't.
So,
And that goes back to the whole what you're good at and the selection. Maybe that is the way to go. I don't know.
well, I mean, let's be realistic. How many people are in executive positions right now that should really be serving French fries, and how many people are in positions selling French fries that should probably be running corporations?
I'll tell you something, and this, I hope to God the guy's not listening. So there's a guy
Let's call him.
from years ago that I knew. So I worked at an electrical company doing electrical work. The stepdaughter, who was the stepdaughter, that's how she got into the biz.
Absolutely.
Did she know electrical? No. But she knew the office end of it because she had been raised in it, you know, since she was a kid.
Right.
So all of a sudden she goes to Florida at her 18th birthday, lives 7-8 years, whatever, moves back and starts talking about this dude she's dating. So here she is in her 20s, dating a dude that's like in his 40s. And we kept saying, we're making jokes about it. And she says that he works for the safety department. And this is back when we, in the 90s, when we as America were starting to realize we need safety people. And I'm like, he works for the city and he's the safety guy. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, when the water company's out digging up holes, he goes by to make sure that they don't get themselves in trouble where a lawsuit could be. So they have to have it coned off and roped off. And I'm going, that's a job? That's like explaining to me the pool man's a real job. I mean, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So here's this guy and he moves up here and he can't get a job because Georgia wasn't living in that direction yet.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he ends up at a construction company as their safety guy. And I'm thinking, okay, here's the dude with the Hawaiian shirt, flip-flops all the time. How's this punk going to make it in a steel-toed, hard hat world, right? 7-8 years go by, the company dissolved. I bump into the guy again. He's the president of the construction company now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're the safety dude. Like, you walked around and told people not to stand on the top rung of the ladder. You walked around telling people to caution tape this, put an orange cone there. And now you are the president of a multi-million-dollar company and you're the safety dude. Like,
how'd that happen?
How is that even? That's like making Cheech and Chong president of marijuana operations in America.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? Now, the dude's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. And because I don't know, am I picking a little? I'm laughing a little.
Yeah,
I can't say I'm picking. But how do you become qualified to run a multi-million-dollar company when you wore Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops and lived in Port Orange, whatever, and you were just the cone guy?
Oh, yeah.
How do you run a multi-million-dollar company? You don't know anything about footings. You don't know anything about structure. You don't know anything about framing. You don't know any of that. How do you go from this guy to this guy? And if I'm an ass for acting like this, it's because I don't know.
Yeah.
But it gets back to how are some of these people being put into these positions? Like, the good thing about some of these Kroger managers and the big green pea that my wife don't like me talking about, most of these people had been with the company so long that they started out as the buggy guy and then the bag guy,
promote from within,
and then cleaning up the floors and then working on the aisles. And they grew up, bred this person. How do you I think you and I should go run, a $20 million business because I want to. Why not?
We're gonna probably run it into the ground.
I'll grow my hair out and do a comb over and dye it weird yellow and orange.
Hawaiian tropic.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see who this is. Oh, goodness gracious. Just for fun.
What's happening today?
What's going on, bro?
So, people in positions they don't deserve to be in, huh?
Yeah. It's just such an oddity. Like, when you look back at some of these cats and go, how in the hell? Like, no lie, I've hung out with a dude before. I left this company, right? I left this company doing electrical work, and I used to drive one of their vans, so I knew what their van looked like. So I stopped in the Hooters one day, and I walked in because I saw their van, and I'm looking for the blue shirt, and it was called Belco Electric, and I'm looking for the Belco-looking dude in his little uniform. And as I sit down with my friends, and I was, we're drinking beer, eating some wings, I see this dude walk out of the bathroom with his Belco uniform on, drunk as Halo, and I didn't tell him who I was. I just walked up and started asking him stuff, and the dude couldn't wind his watch, not because he was drunk, just because he had no common sense. And then I thought, who in their right mind put him in a service truck to represent their company to go to somebody's house and pray the guy don't burn their house down? Like, how do some of these people get these jobs? I don't get it.
Huh.
Hey, look, I can fully understand an elected official, how they get the position, because
they can say whatever and people will elect them.
That's right.
I can see that.
And nobody's feet are held to the fire.
There's charades in that. I can see that.
But in business, man, it's crazy because I've been involved in so many small businesses, and it's like every single solitary day we need to make every single penny we can make. We need to make sure we're cutting our lunch times off at that exact second so we can get back on the job, and we need to be productive and no standing around, and you got time to lean, you got time to clean, blah, blah, blah. But then like you said, somebody's daughter will come to work and everybody else will get pushed to the side, and she'll make $45,000 a year and leave early every day, come in late, early. And you just sit there and you kind of look at the boss and you go, oh, okay. So
that'd be like me saying, I'm going to be a dog groomer because I know how to shave my head. That's retarded.
I tell you what you see a lot of nowadays in the medical profession, whether it's home health care, whether it's nursing homes, hell, even some of the doctors' practices, the family practices, the director of the clinic has no medical training at all whatsoever.
How is that even possible?
See, I don't get it. I don't understand. That'd be like a foot doctor trying to become your proctologist. How do you know anything about?
No, it's like your mechanic becoming your proctologist.
That's why I just got through talking with Natalie, and she's been an RN for 15 years, and then retired and come home. I just talked her in. She starts school in the fall. She's going back to get her nurse practitioners, and I'm going to open a clinic for her. Hell.
Well, I mean, I understand the need for administrators, but okay, let's go back to what Scotty and I were talking about in the beginning. Okay, around 9th grade, people start becoming, truthfully evaluated, not this. You know what my kid got in school? Got an evaluation, got like a survey that said which girls in his class would be compatible.
Now that's a bit odd.
And
are we now trying to breed our children like cattle?
This was going on for a long time. Now, hey, and also had, commingling, let's just say, hey, be cool now. Don't go all wild. Commingling of races and commingling of religions.
And they all said, David, John, and Mike are his compatibilities.
Yeah, what? See what's going on there? No, but they did commingle races and they did commingle religions in school.
That's just odd.
That was more important than finding out that my son is a software genius and he's going to Southern Polytech. One was he.
And listen, when it comes to writing HTMLs, either you know it or you don't. And I bought a book HTML for Dummy. Look, that book, it's a great thing to set my drink on. Because, some people got it and some people don't.
I'm not saying you can't learn stuff, but
I was just amazed. I was turned on to that by a friend of mine about 3 or 4 days ago. He called and seen how I was doing after my accident, and we got to talk, and I asked him what he was doing now, and he said, I started a medical family practice. I said, you did what? He said, yeah. He said, I put together my own clinic and I brought my own doctors in and everything. I said, well, what kind of training do you have? He said, none. He said, I've been doing this for about 5 years now. He said, I cleared about 280 last year.
Isn't that something?
No.
And, as odd as that sounds, so this girl I knew once, her father owned a dentistry. And, of course, I asked the question one day. I'm like, she tells me her dad owns this dentistry. So then like a couple days go by, I make a comment about her dad being a dentist. And she goes, no, my dad's a truck driver.
Right.
And I went, excuse me? Like, how is your dad a truck driver and a dentist? Because now I'm thinking you're lying to me. But what it was is her dad bought 4 or 5 trucks, made a chunk of money because the trucking business was making such a great profit. The company that he originally, I don't know how to word it. You business guys would know how to word it better than me. So he opens a company that then owns the trucking company. So if something happens, he's not legally whatever.
Yeah, the way he devises corporation, that
corporation that owns another corporation.
Had a subchapter S.
Right. So regardless of the original,
DBA.
the original corporation that owned the trucking company then opened a dentistry.
Right.
Because the corporation of the trucking company was making such a profit, he needed to show a loss.
Yeah.
So he opens the dentistry, and what he does is almost like how a tattoo studio works or a hair salon. He does a business, he supplies a room, and depending on whatever agreement him and the dentist do, he supplies either stuff for their room or he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he subcontracts all this dentistry stuff out. That way the dentist, all he has to do is show up, do his thing, and then he pays a monthly fee that then pays for the building, pays for the electricity, pays for the receptionist, pays for, and I'm just like, when did that kind of stuff start happening? I always thought a dentist owned his own business. I had no idea. But what they've done is this way, that dentist as a person, the dentist as a person is paying the company for the space.
That's it.
And then if something happens with a nurse, he's not, or whoever you want to call these people, he's not liable for any of it.
Yeah, okay.
The corporation's liable. I'm just like, wow, this is so weird.
Doctors compartmentalize. You know that most of the doctors that work at hospitals don't work for the hospital. They work for a company that's contracted into the hospital to provide doctors.
I'm just blown away at how all this works.
ER doctors are like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, that's how I started, truthfully.
As an ER doctor or in an ER?
No, contracting, different stuff, and then I got out of it, and I became a source manager.
Yeah.
A self-proclaimed source manager because I knew where to get stuff for less at. So I started making phone calls to contractors, to everybody else, office buildings, courthouses, supplying paper, doing this, and it was just hands off. I was making phone calls.
Yeah,
creating a spread for me, putting mine in my pocket and having it shipped directly to them.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into the concert thing, started providing stages and sound equipment and lights and what have you.
You know, there's a saying about a professional, guy who does professional presentations. He doesn't need to know crap about what he's presenting. He just needs to know how to present it.
Well, I mean, that's what an attorney is.
Yeah, absolutely.
90% of the work is done by the paralegal, and they put their script together and they walk in the courtroom. And
absolutely. I was just talking about that yesterday with my son-in-law, because there's these online companies that one of my mother was an attorney before she passed away. So I was kind of really into it. That's actually, if my mother didn't pass away, I was going to go to law school and everything else and work in the firm. But when she was killed, I didn't have much choice. Different story for a different day, right? But here's the thing: is that these big companies, these big law firms, have mock trials to see if either the plaintiff or the defendant will come up with something that they weren't prepared for. So they actually contract people through these online businesses like eJury and stuff, or online verdict, and they pay you to be a mock jurist.
You
know,
how odd is that?
Well, I think it's a good idea.
I know, but
I'll
I mean,
I'll tell you what, one of my very first jobs was, I was a testimony expert. I made up my own field. I was a testimony expert. Now they got people that are jury experts, etc. Because I was so analytical in what I was reviewing, and I would just sit and listen to testimony and poke holes in it and write it down on a piece of paper and hand it to the paralegal or the attorney.
Yeah,
and I was
it's kind of like a stats guy for a baseball commentator.
Yeah, as a consultant, I was doing $100+ an hour doing that.
Well, okay, so getting back to our initial topic, do you think you would have been identified as how old are you in ninth grade? 14, something like that? 13,
yeah,
14?
14. I think end of ninth grade, you would be 15.
So
maybe, I don't know.
Do you think you'd be identified on that, or do you think it was better to graduate from high school, go to college,
and find yourself,
and to work, numerous jobs until you found what makes Craig Craig?
Well, let's be honest. Today's age and yesterday's age. I mean, some of the stuff I pulled off when I was in high school, I'd be under the jailhouse today.
Yes, yeah, I
do
agree with that.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Well, okay, then as a parent, how do you feel? Would you be opposed to them to start trying to decide? Maybe not. Let me word it this way. Maybe not say, okay, because you did great on this test, you're gonna become an electrician. Maybe it should be more of a you're really good at this. Have you thought about going this direction?
Well, they've got these giant schools for kids that can't graduate high school, like this open campus.
Yeah, I went to open campus. Yeah,
because maybe the schedule was different, or maybe one you just like me. I was identified with three things.
Right.
I didn't play well with others. I didn't like to share, and I had a general problem with authority. That is what a teacher told me when I was a senior.
Right.
And you know what I did?
You should have been a stripper then.
Yeah.
No, you know what I did? I got out of the high school and I went in the military.
Right.
And it was awesome.
Right. And that's what I look back now and wish I would have done.
Well, here I am in the military and everybody's like, well, you got a problem with authority. Yeah, but if you're smart, I mean, the damn Army's based on like the 5th grade level.
Right.
So yeah, for a little while I had to take it. But within 2 years, I was a sergeant.
Right.
And before that, I was a corporal.
And that's my problem, where I have, and I have always had in school, my brain's moving faster than anybody I was in class with. So for them to say Scott was disconnected and Scott wasn't happy and Scott was pissed off, well, what it was I was tired of your little reindeer games. Like in the 3rd grade, y'all want to play duck, duck, goose. And I'm like over here drawing. I didn't have any interest in what you were. And I was dyslexic, and they're trying to make us do spelling bees, and I'm over here doing math problems, getting my math homework done. And they're like, do you have an answer to that English question? And I'm like, no, I was doing my math homework. Well, why are you, tuning us and blocking us out? And really, I wasn't smart enough to be or educated enough, if you want to word it that way, to look up and go, because y'all are boring me. I didn't know to say those things.
Yeah.
You know what I think is really happening here is, in so many different levels, is destruction of the family concept, where everybody except for the quote-unquote parents are in some way or another charged with the duty of raising their child.
Right.
And you combine that with today's medical profession, where they have a vested interest in labeling kids with ADHD or
back in my day, I was told they told my parents that I needed to be in special ed, that I was mentally retarded,
We've all felt that way at one point or another.
But what it was
Well, see-
I was hyper and I would be bored with the class and I would just go out. I'd just get up when the teacher's back was turned. I'd start walking down the hallway, just doing my own thing. And they're saying something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with him. And then the first thing they want to do is send me to a psychiatrist.
Yep.
Then they wanted to say
Medicate.
he needs Ritalin.
Yep. Medicate.
And it's like, really? I'm blown away at how easy people can just point fingers instead of getting to the root of problems.
well, I mean,
if you look at a couple of the communist countries and look at what they do with their children, I mean, from the ground up, not inception or whatever,
Yes.
but it's pretty much decided before your wife is even pregnant. If you have a male child or you have a female child, whatever the gender is, that they're going to fall into 2 or 3 different categories. Your daughter's going to do this, or your daughter's going to be that.
Right.
well, here you said not from inception. I have to disagree, knowing that I was my theater of operation obviously was in the 80s was the Soviet Union, and they purposely did take Olympic level athletes and mated them. You see what I'm saying?
To try to make more.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the Germans kind of screwed that up back in the 40s, 30s, and 40s. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it. Now, do you guys really sit right here? Now, let me ask y'all that tough question, listeners. Do you guys really sit here and think that when they do I'm going to blow it, I know I am, amniocentesis, when they do that they don't have the ability to check the genetics of the child?
Well, I'm sure they can do a lot of things. Just like I've tried to explain to people, when you give blood, I'm going to try to word this correctly. A relative of mine once worked in the hospital in the lab work area. And a little giggle at the kitchen table one time was, just because you give them blood and you're supposed to have a test done doesn't mean that B, C, D, and E test isn't being done also, because you've now given your blood up.
Yeah, you sign it off.
They
They
can
test it.
People sit there and say, AIDS test. Well, where do you think the statistics come from? They know who has AIDS and who doesn't. I mean, come on, people. Everybody needs to get past that whole secret black label government conspiracy theory crap. Come on. If you're giving blood, come on.
Without getting into some kind of racial disparity, racial argument, or whatever, because it's been going on for day one. Blacks have had white slaves, and white and black, and Chinese, and whatever. But
just offend everybody.
If he offends, if he offends all of them, not one of them can stand up and scream that you singled me out.
Nobody's special. Like
Keep going. I'm with you.
Whoever the conquering party was,
right?
You were enslaved. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah, your color meant nothing. They wanted you to do their work.
Right. But if you look back on it, you can use the United States as a prime example, where different types of people on the slave quote unquote trade were bred particularly for field work or this kind of work,
right,
etc. So white hip women they were going to be the baby machines,
them childbearing hips.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got to go back to this. My brother Chris was playing a guitar at 8 years old, and this guy can just rock it like you've never in a million years. How much? Two things here. How much of that creativity was wasted because he had to go through all the trials and tribulations of life, work a full-time job, blah, blah, blah. Finally work 2 jobs so he could go to the recording studio because it's freaking $300 an hour. So how much time was wasted personally? Then let's look at it from our village. Let's say our village didn't get to enjoy his music for years and years and years. Now the guy's in his 50s. I mean, he's still rocking it, but so that's where I guess I'm going with all this morning is I really think that there's some CEOs of corporations out there flipping burgers. But I'm going to tell you, I've worked in corporate America, and I have sat at huge conference tables and listened to people speak and go, what, am I being punked? I mean, you know, oh my God, how did this guy raise? And you know what? It ain't the college degree, Scotty. It ain't the college degree.
I'm just telling
Bill
you.
Gates, baby.
Yeah.
That's why I love Bill Gates right there.
Well, it also comes back to drive and ambition, because a lot of people don't have that anymore.
Okay, so if you don't have any drive and ambition, instead of just saying, "Oh, you're a dud," let's look back. Where did that happen? Who squashed it?
Yeah. Well, who deprogrammed you?
Yeah, my third grade teacher, when she said, "Don't be playing Army and don't be playing cops and robbers, Michael."
Well, how about I laugh all the time, and this is not a kick at my mother. This has always been a joke, though. Is how many times that I get told, "Quit acting like that. You're never going to get a job anywhere in the real world being that guy." And now my joke is, I get paid to be this guy.
How about this? After 22 years in the Army, I was thinking about getting out, and I was talking with my family, and a friend of the family looked at me and said, "Hey, man, what are you going to do in the real world?"
Yeah.
Almost came over the freaking table, almost came over the freaking table. Real world.
Well, you have to agree at the same time, quote unquote, real world, that there is, whether you're in the military or whether you're in a prison, there's an institutionalization process and adaptation or readaptation or reassimilation to civilian life.
Yeah, the transition
is a viable argument there.
Yeah.
You have to remember that we have one planet. Let's word it this way, because this will get confusing.
The village.
We have one planet, but inside this planet, each of us have our own little world we live in. I mean, it's like I made the joke when I was 20s, electrical work had slowed down. A dude I know from Hooters was talking about his pool company, and then I met up with the owner of the pool company, and the pool company owner says, "Dude, you know how to do electrical work?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "I will pay you to go swap out lights, switches, timers, motors." Okay. And in my brain, a pool man, that's not a real job. You can't make me. Who is a pool man? I thought a pool man was like down one ladder rung of the high school janitor. Like, how is that a real job? And then I go work with this cat and then go, "How the hell are you so rich?
Yeah.
What are you doing?" Because who would have thought a pool guy makes money? I just never in a million years thought the pool guy. I mean, how many porns did you see that involved a pool guy? I never thought that was a real job.
You just thought that was the lead into being.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bad movie.
There's all kinds of problems today. A big problem is when you can sit around on your ass and get more in assistance and you can go out and work at the job.
I wish that they would cut a lot of that stuff out. I mean, there's a lot of that needs to be cut out.
Talking about that, if you hired people like basically not a private investigator, but someone like that, like a fraud investigator, and you went and you cut those benefits on people that weren't entitled to it, there would be anarchy. There would be anarchy in the streets because
it's just terrible.
It's just like the $15 an hour burger flipper argument we had not that long ago.
Yeah, same thing.
I knew good and well that it would never happen. It would never pass because what would happen is McDonald's and everybody else would automate their shit.
Well, and the good part,
and I'll pay that $15 an hour. But I tell my kids, oftentimes, not always, usually you're rewarded on effort.
Well,
you apply yourself?
Do you know what the monopoly would take place if, say, six businesses are considered fast food? 5 of them start paying $15 an hour. Their prices go up. One company does what you say, and they decide to go automate. Then what happens? The people that are only selling the burger for $2 makes all the money, and the government's not going to allow that.
No, you get up to it would get up to a point where either they would fold or they would fall in also,
Right. And then what? Would our government go bail them out like they did the banks?
Or GM or whoever, sure.
I'm just blown away.
What I tell my kids is, you was talking about one world or whatever. I tell them that most of the time, not always, that you're rewarded on effort. And, you know, sometimes things happen for no fault of somebody, an individual's, what their attempt or their effort in life. You know, when the crunch happened, people lost 70% of their savings and that kind of stuff. But I point out to them that it takes all kinds to make the world go around. And if you want to be that guy on the bicycle trying to find a warm place to sleep at night, then don't put forth any effort at all. But just because you go get a college degree doesn't mean you're going to be in the mansion driving the Ferraris.
That's right.
Well, I mean, okay, look at I'm going to be going hopefully to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and one, you know, they got great programs, they got up to date, all this other stuff, and then the whole big thing, and every counselor, administrator, everybody I've talked to, even Joey the voice here at the station. He told me, he said, look, the job placement thing. And it's like, hey man, I'm retired. And I basically have a position with Just for Fun Radio. I just want to learn more about the industry. And, but everybody, the first thing out of their mouth is, okay, look about job placement. Now, we do say that we'll help you and we'll help you formulate but we do not, under any circumstances, guarantee jobs.
Yeah, because there's not that many out there.
Oh, and there's so many interns.
Well,
you know?
and that's what I was going to say. There's so many people that are praying that they're working for $10 an hour.
Yeah,
you know, some of these interns, you know, Joey, for instance, was one, and another one of the guys that worked there. And what happens is they start off 100% as an intern. Then they start getting paid like a general $10 an hour for what they believe is going to be 30 hours a week. Then it turns into 40, but you're only getting paid 30. And then you may get to your 50 and 60s and you may get paid for 40 of it.
And I think we should all say one thing
sure,
about
because part of it's classified as internship or OJT.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, one thing.
So they rip the pay scale for you.
Yep.
One thing we should definitely comment here that we're talking about Joey the voice. He's freaking amazing at it.
Are you trying to just suck face with him through the microphone?
No, but you have to
I
admit.
need to see where he's at.
You have to admit that dude has got the epitome of, I mean, that's why we're doing this voiceover work. That's why we're going to be doing spots for people, because his voice and his mentality and his quick thinking and all, he is the proverbial rock and roll freaking DJ, you know? And
but you know what? 9 times out of 10, none of that shit matters.
That's
the problem.
Yeah,
that's the whole problem. He was with Project 961 for so many years, and just what was it, Weekend at Bernie's, when one of the guys said, well, you know what they say, you work hard and blah blah blah, and the other guy says, well, you know what, my old man worked hard every day for his, for 50 years, and you know what they gave him? More work.
That's right.
Joey busted his balls and didn't get anywhere.
I've spent half of my life around some of the best musicians in the country, sitting around on buses, barbecues in their backyard, that kind of shit. And you would not believe the talent that I've been introduced to that were just friends of theirs that never, quote unquote, made it.
Right.
And it's not just, when I open my eyes and look at it, it's not just musicianship. It's everything. It's in corporate. It's in white collar, blue collar workers. You know, everybody knows somebody that's, quote unquote, made it, but they all have buddies that are twice as good as they are that have no recognition.
That's crazy. Hey,
well, it's not who you know, but who you know.
Yeah,
it's not who you know; it's who you know well.
Hey, boss, I got to remind you.
Yep, we're at 1 minute. We got to go to a commercial. We're at 1 minute away, but I appreciate you calling in. Just keep listening, man. We'll probably take it to another level here in a minute.
All right, bro.
All right, thanks for calling in.
See you.
All right, bye. All right, yeah, everybody. I actually went over and did 40 minutes. And was supposed to do commercials, and apparently I overtalked several different things. But we do that occasionally.
Yeah, no, we didn't get into politics or religion. We kept it good.
Well, and and it goes back to, at what point at what point is government taking away the normalness of our life? And that's the problem. Is I believe that maybe we should start offering, let's word it that way, offering the children
children.
You know, choices.
I think that is coming with homeschooling. Homeschooling,
Yes, homeschooling's
deal now.
kind of taking over a lot.
Here,
All right, let's go to a commercial. We'll be right back, everybody. It's Just Fun in the Morning.
See ya.
Yeah, I had the volume down so you can't hear the my timer go beep 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 beep. I'm trying to make us get back to doing 20s so that the commercials play right.
Report says erectile dysfunctional drugs increase skin cancer risk.
Oh, we need to talk about that.
Oh my God. You can't win, man. You just can't win.
I told you it was worth taking that gamble. Now look, crap.
Oh!
Did I do that?
Former White House chef death ruled an accident. I know. I know a White House chef. I see you, and I raise you. Hard to mix in. This guy turned his way. Sleep listening.
Sleep listening?
Yeah. Freaking stop playing damn trivia crap with me too.
Well, if y'all would get some sleep.
Can't sleep.
Na 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 na.
I'm trying freaking subliminal stuff now.
No, baby, light my fire. I need a cart like that.
Yeah. AV truck car.
Yeah, just to be able to fix it so we can go. And what I'm gonna do is fix it so if we want to go do something live, we shut the Mac off once we're wherever and sign in with this, and we're live.
Check out Granger. If not Granger, Amazon.
Well, Harbor Freight's supposed to be opening here in Conyers, and they had a couple that I saw. Mm-mm. 32 seconds.
Things fit so nice and snug. It's like they freaking pressurized my head.
Well, that's good though, because that means it's tight on your ears, and hopefully it don't bleed, over on the mic. Is your ear volume too loud, or the headphone volume?
Nah, we're good. It's all good.
And we're back.
We're back.
Back for more.
Back in black.
Hey, so look, I'm cruising.
Perusing.
I just want to point out things, and this will make a great conversation. So Conyers, Covington / Conyers buy, sell, trade on Facebook. You know,
right.
I'm looking for a
Yeah.
computer. I mean, looking for the canoe.
That's a cool.
So here's what's cool is you see this right here is like some sailboat wood wind chime.
Mobile. Not sure.
But look in the background.
Metallica.
So there's a Metallica flag of Master of Puppets hanging in the background. What I find funny is when you start strolling through these pictures and then you see other things in the background people don't think about. Let's catch this call just for fun.
Shut up, Mike.
Dang, man. Why we got to be like that?
That was hilarious. And I had a phone call from earlier. I probably need to call back. But
yeah, it's probably just shut up, Mike.
I'm just laughing when you see pictures and people don't think about what's in the background. Like you take these pictures and you never once go, my house is dirty. I probably shouldn't post this picture.
No, nobody thinks of that.
I mean, or like somebody selling a pair of handcuffs and you don't notice the 3-foot bong in the background. What are you thinking?
Apparently they're not.
Like somebody a minute ago was selling a Jeep, and in the background you see the really cluttered garage, the Confederate flags hanging everywhere, and it's like, nope, you're not a redneck. So I just find it funny, when you see all this stuff. Like, look, there's somebody's workout stuff, right?
Yep.
Here's the problem. This is a picture of their basement. Now, I now know, I'm not going to say her name, but I now know that I could click to find out what county she lives in. I see now, here's her phone number because she's telling you to text me. And I now know what the inside of your house looks like.
Yeah, and then if you call or post something to her right now, she'll probably say, nobody's home till 8:30 tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, Well,
you know what they say, the big homeowners insurance folks, if you get robbed and while you're on vacation and they find that you've posted on Facebook or any of the other places that your home was, unoccupied, that there is a possibility they will not pay the claim.
Yeah, because they're trying to say that you baited the people. You baited. So I'm gonna post going out of town for 6 months. House will be unoccupied. Need house sitter. Leaving tomorrow at 6 a.m. Yeah. And we're all just gonna sit down here with a bunch of AR-15s and wait for the dude to try to come in. And the good thing about having the lake in the backyard, all we'd have to do is go sit at the mailbox, and I'll be like, Mike, what side do you want? Okay, you cover the right side of the house. I'll cover the left. Anything comes out from behind the sides of the house, just start shooting. I mean, because that'd be their only way out. They can't go out the backyard.
And we could put the bodies in the lake.
Yes.
And
I'll play that song. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the But that's the stupid thing. Like I'm like tripping out. I'm scrolling, right? I'm just scrolling on down Facebook and I'm seeing all these people's houses. And it's like, do you not realize that you're showing people the inside of your house? I'm just saying, or the inside of your garage. So what if you post this picture where you're trying to sell a workout machine and it's in your garage, right? So now you've advertised that you have like 4 motorcycles in this garage.
Ooh, do you see that ground effect light?
So even though you're trying to sell a workout set, you're advertising, hey, come check out my house. Here's this big, beautiful set of motorcycles behind me.
You know, on that particular Facebook page you're on, there are a lot of people selling booty shorts.
Well, you know, they say the booty shorts are going out of style. That they're starting to get back into those other style that were like
Daisy Dukes.
No, they're getting out of that and getting back into like the Bermuda short type stuff.
Yeah, or the stuff like Taylor Swift wears.
Yeah, something like that.
Sexy girl.
You weirdo.
No, she's 25. It's all
you
good in the
weirdo.
25. All good in the neighborhood. Who we calling?
It was a return call.
All right, these are always fun.
Good morning, Just for Fun Radio. What's going on?
What's happening?
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Not a whole lot. What y'all guys up to this morning?
About 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, that thing.
I was calling in earlier when you guys was on the topic about, how like family members get involved in the businesses and they go from having nothing to having absolutely everything overnight.
Yes, people that don't know anything that all of a sudden have a title.
Kind of like me.
Yeah,
that's like one day somebody just says, hey, I'm going to go open a bar. Really? Have you ever worked at a bar? No. So what do you know about it? I don't know anything.
Well, I mean, you got to give people a chance on stuff. You know,
I believe in giving them a chance, but after their chance has been given and they still continue to act as if they don't know what they're doing, I say cut them off and not let them have a part of the company anymore. They need to at least know something.
Well, okay, so let's take a look at it. Who's gonna be the authority there? Who's gonna be that deciding factor? That's what you got to look at. Because obviously it ain't going on in the government. I ain't getting into no government discussion, but let's be realistic. The people that don't vote, their non-vote counts more than the people that do vote because you can manipulate the numbers.
Well, what gets me is, okay, a police officer or a fireman, they have to go through an academy to say whether or not they can become this or that, right? Because if you fail the academy, you don't get any further. But then either you're just going to be a hose man for the rest of your life, or you're going to take these tests to move up as far as being a fireman. You can't become a lieutenant without taking several tests and go through several courses and get several certificates. The same thing would be in a police officer, right? You're not going to be advanced to a sergeant unless you take a test, right? So,
no, not necessarily. Let me tell you something about the Army. You can basically hang around long enough and get stripes.
Well, see, I didn't know that part about the Army. I knew with like the fire department, you have to have certifications to become something else.
That you do in the military too. But here's the thing: the military's got this thing. The enlisted side of the house has got this thing called the it's a NCO, non-commissioned officer evaluation report, ERs, and man, the whole thing is just crap. But everything weighs on it, you know. If they say one word, they call it a virus. It's a virus on your career. And it's ridiculous because like everybody is amazing. Okay. So let's say you got a deadbeat soldier and you write a bad NCOER on him. Oh my God, you just ruined his career. It's okay. So don't be honest. Hey, I had a guy, I showed up at a unit and it just happened to be the last day that the supervisors had to have the NCO ERs in. He sat down with me for about, I don't know, 2 minutes and wrote my my NCOER because they had to be done, and I was assigned to that unit now.
See,
that guy got a clue.
So what have you seen as far as people that don't know their jobs but yet have a position? I'm trying to get it to the call.
The company that I was previously with when I started this whole lawn care thing, I just left them about 2 weeks ago because of the same situation. I wasn't getting any raises. I got like my first 3 raises in my first 90 days, or 25 cents raise every 30 days, and then after that they stopped wanting to give me money, and I was still putting out the same amount of work. I never slacked off or anything. Well, I kept asking, and they wouldn't give it to me, so I started to slack off a little bit. You don't want to give me the money I'm not asking for, I'm just not going to give you the work you want. So I kept going on, and then I started noticing other people getting raises, and I noticed that the people that were getting the raises were the boss's kids. So I was like, well, that's not fair. That's
Man,
not cool. So
you were describing an exact same situation with an entirely different company and an entirely set of people, and what you're saying is identical. There's this guy I know that's been somewhere 15 years, and he doesn't make hardly anything compared to the boss and the boss's son.
Yeah, but that's family.
Oh, I know. Just like the company that I'm talking about.
No, but these people are working for this company.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
There's a manager over at the company, and he's been with the company for almost 15 years. And he told me right before I left that it's just impossible to get a raise around there unless your last name is the owner's last name. He said because he's been there as long as he has. I was only making $100 less than what he was making.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's wow. Are you kidding me? And you've been there for almost 15 years, man.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's when you got to make the choice.
Bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make the choice to make a move.
It just sucks that it comes down to this.
That's cool.
It does. I mean, it does. The people over there at that company were great. I loved it. I loved it over there. Just the way they done things was a little odd, and so I stuck my nose out, and I found another company that does the same thing, and they hired me on spot, right there on the spot.
Yeah.
I went in on a Friday to my other company, and I told him, I said, I give you a chance to let me work 2 weeks, and he said, no, you can go ahead. We don't need you. I said, all right, bye. See, I'm going to have a 3-day weekend. I start my new job Monday morning.
Wow. Sure. And it just sucks that's how it is, though. It just sucks. That's just the world, and that's how it is.
I mean, I can understand family, but if it's not family and it's, quid pro quo or tit for tat or any of that other stuff, they have laws in place to prevent it. They really do. The human resources people have been really on it as best as they can. It is a delicate subject. But here's the thing is that if you get hired on, and I've had people that work for me. I had this one guy, he came up to me and told me I had to give him a raise because his car payment was $350 a month. And I looked at him.
That's not your fault.
Yeah. I looked at him. I said, hey, dude, check this out. You accepted this job for the pay that we discussed under the terms we discussed. I didn't have anything to do with your car. I'm sorry. You're going to need to rebudget your stuff. But now we're all adults here. Let's take the other side of it. The guy really was just in a financial,
pickle.
Straits. Yeah. And he was trying to get some more money, and he just went about it the wrong way. So, hey, I think, and we'll get off this topic, I think that if people had the ability to be identified a little earlier, just a little bit, a couple of years, and they had the opportunity to get adult supervision, adult direction prior to being in their mid-20s, I think that there would be less lost work due to, I'm just going to call in sick today because I can't stand the place where I work.
I'm calling in on vacay day.
Yeah, I am. I think that on the job health issues would come to a screeching halt. And I think everybody that works for a company, a certain amount of their pay, that you don't have a choice. A certain amount of your pay has to go into some type of stock option so that you have some form of ownership of the business that you work for. And I think the smallest corporation in the world should be the U.S. government, because right now it's the largest with less than 1% terminations. And that's just BS all the way across the board. I can't tell you how many
I agree.
government officials that just need to be booted. Why is it? Okay, here's one. Ebola. This is what I heard on the news this morning. Every state in our country is going to get $2 million from the federal government to start setting up, programs and whatnot to deal with Ebola. Now,
I don't even hear about it anymore.
Yeah, well, because it was BS.
I don't hear about Ebola no more. Where'd it go?
Okay, but it's in the news. So that's $100 million, man. That's $100 million. I got an idea. Why don't we give all the states $1 million, take $50 million, and give some of these veterans a place to go to be treated and to live? How about that? Why don't we do that?
I can't understand this. How is it that people that don't work have better health care than the people that have defended our country? Just a simple question.
We're getting you robbed.
Just a simple question.
These are just easy.
Why is it that the people such as myself that have to pay for health care have worse health care than the people that don't work and get it for free? What makes the guy living in the projects who gets a free home, gets free food and free health care, what makes him get better than me when I have to pay for everything? I don't get it. Hello, if I'm having to pay money to get a Mustang GT, that means I'm paying to get that GT on that car. Why should the free car Mustang be given to the other guy? I have to pay for the GT.
Outlaw country. Yeah, I think power down to the states, man. I think power down to the states. Get rid of some of this. Like I said, that guy said this morning, he goes, Mr. President, I will make sure that my child does not eat too many Oreos and not drink too many sodas.
Mm-hmm.
If you would please do something about ISIS.
I think if every state was allowed to make up their own rules, that way all the idiots that live in Georgia that don't want to follow our rules go to Lower Alabama.
Yeah.
If you don't want to follow our rules, we now give you the freedom to pick up and move. Oh, but it's not fair. I got to move. Well, it's called freedom of choice. If you don't want to be here, please exit stage left.
Look at those states that don't have sales tax.
Yeah.
Like, is it Wisconsin? Wisconsin or Wyoming, they don't have a sales tax. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's just a beautiful
Well, then how are they paying taxes?
Man, I don't know how it works. I'll be honest with you. I am
because I'm just thinking fair tax is just so much easier.
Oh, God, I love fair tax. I love fair tax.
Fair tax is the way to go.
I mean, everybody then pays if JD buys $5 worth of gas and I buy $5 worth of gas, we both paid the same.
Yep.
It don't matter who makes more money. We both paid the same.
How can that be a no? What can you do to distort
That's the problem is how can that be wrong?
Let me get up there. I want to be a congressman.
And the problem is, just like if I ran for commissioner, they would overanalyze you. They would drive you nuts. They would purposely try to piss you off to make you quit because they don't want you.
Or they bring up your past.
Right, which none of that is relevant of the problem that you're there to fix.
Why is it that our government, the SEC, Security and Exchange Commissions, can tell you on every single solitary stock, bond, mutual fund, CD sale, and even your investments with banks, that past performance is no indication of future performance? But when you run for office, all they do is dig up your past.
I'm just saying.
You ever see that thing that the Department of Agriculture puts out?
No.
That it says, in any of the national parks, oh, she's beautiful. Oh, that's your wife. Sorry.
Focus.
It's like if you're in a state park or a national park, do not feed the animals, because when we as just citizens or spectators feed the animals, then they create that whole need and
right. So what you're saying is we fed the animals.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm saying it.
Do you know?
I'm saying it. You didn't say it. I'm saying it. We fed the animals.
You know who handles welfare? Department of Agriculture.
Yeah. Don't feed Yogi Bear because he will be dependent of your picnic basket.
A picnic basket. Man, I haven't seen that cartoon in I don't know how long. What's
So,
going on, man?
Let's go back to state parks. So I did a video a couple weeks ago, and I want to question this because it pisses me off. So now, if the government, whether it be local or city or whatever, if the parks in my county are paid for by the county, which means the county taxes pay for the park, then why, oh why, do I have to rent the pavilion? If the park's supposed to be open and it's supposed to be free and it's supposed to be paid for by our taxes, then why do I have to call anybody and schedule a rental of the pavilion that is owned by us?
I got something similar to that.
That
It's just
pisses
like
me
that.
off.
Me too. I don't know if you guys have been to you know Factory Shoals down there by Jackson Lake, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's a part of Newton County. It's a state park. I pay taxes. I lived in Newton County. I mean, every time I'd go down there, I always had to pay $2-3 to park.
Right.
I mean, why? Why are you having to make me pay when there's nobody here already?
Yes.
Just me. Nobody goes there.
You're the only car in the parking lot.
Right. How about this? You don't own water. You don't own water. I can take a canoe and go down a river, and then somebody wants to say you're in the park. The river runs through the park. I'm not in the park, and you don't own water.
You got some DNR guys standing there. Don't you come down this river unless you got $3.
And how about this? This is just another one that I just find so funny. So if you have a canoe, you don't have to have it tagged, numbered, nothing.
But if you have a boat,
But wait, no. This is how this. I want you to hear this because this is how stupid this is. But if you put a motor on it,
the canoe,
anything, it has to be numbered. So,
yeah.
Why does that make it? Why does that make sense?
It doesn't.
So if I take a boat and put it in the middle of the lake with no motor on it at all, do I have to have it tagged? Because they want to say it's a boat and not a kayak, not a canoe.
It's crazy, man.
It's most insane. But again,
they got to get that $100 million to open up Ebola camps.
But see, here's the other thing. Technically, Georgia Power owns Jackson Lake.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if Jackson Lake is owned by someone, then I can see them saying, well, you have to pay us to be on the lake. I could see that if they own the lake.
Right.
But you don't own water.
No.
So there's a catch-22 in that. It's kind of like a farmer has a pond. If the pond has no creek to feed the pond that you can paddle in on a canoe, then technically you would be walking on his property to get to the pond, which now you've broken a law.
Right.
But if there was something that fed it with enough water I could paddle in on a canoe, then am I technically on his property because I've never physically touched his earth that he owns? See these fine, stupid lines. Yeah. I just die laughing.
I know. Okay, so you said Georgia Power owns Lake Jackson, correct?
Yes, I believe that is.
Before Afghanistan,
or EMC, whoever.
Yeah, my little team there, we were practicing different types of military operations, and one of them was what's referred to as a river reconnaissance. Well, we put in right there by the Sac Suds, and we went up the side of the river. And then we had a little like fake engagement and all that other stuff. And then we sent forth a couple guys to take pictures of the dam. Okay. And we were just doing the reporting procedures and moving in the water and, all that other stuff. Well, we had to contact Georgia Power because we didn't want them opening up that dam and washing us all down. Yeah, washing us all down. So we called the number that's up there that says, for information.
Right.
Call this number. Do you know that it took days to find somebody who even knew about that?
Right.
They didn't. There was nobody. I would talk to people and I'd go, "Hi, my name is." Don't want to pretend. They'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about there, buddy.
And that's the world we live in.
And that's the world we live in. But
That's what it could crumble.
yeah.
I mean, isn't it just insane? Now, I can see in JD's point of view, why should I have to pay to park? Okay. And then in one part, I can see if you're a person that goes to the park all the time and you just want to be fair and you go, oh, okay, I understand I'm donating $3, to help pay for somebody to come clean the park up. And I'm okay with paying the $3, I guess.
Well, see, I thought about that too. At the time, I thought, well, maybe the $3 goes towards something. Well, I got in a little trouble back in the day, and I had to do community service. Guess what community service is? Go clean up Factory Shoals.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
I was like, well, dang, I just got.
And I get what they're saying. $3 versus $500 to rent the pavilion, huge difference.
Yeah. Now, how much is it to put in at Barry's now?
Barry's boat dock, I have no idea because
$5
Barry's is a private person's boat dock.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's about $5. And
But I mean, we've been going there for years.
It's Barry's
40.
boat dock. It is $5.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going there as a kid.
I'm talking about
Up until
40
now,
plus
yeah.
years that I've been going to Barry's. Okay, so the parking lot has expanded, every year.
Every year.
Is it more and more?
We used to have a lake house. Like if you go to Barry's and you turn into the parking lot right there on the left-hand side. Well, you can continue to go straight, and there's little houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually one house right up in the middle of that area that was actually part of my family for a while. So, weekend at Barry's boat dock was.
Hey, let me ask you a question out there and I have been all over. I was going to tell you Lake Jackson. We used to take our jet skis all the way up the river. Okay.
I know other people used to do that
and
too.
we'd go all the way to the falls. That's what I was saying. You're going to have to, if you're going to do the canoe thing, you're going to have to get out because there ain't no way you're coming down those falls.
Oh, yeah. There's several places I've already looked that you'd have to physically get out and move around.
And then, of course, Ken and I used to fish the Oconee River all the time. That would be fun to canoe. That would be awesome. But making my point about Barry's on a Saturday like this Saturday.
I can't help
I know everywhere I go,
Saturday.
People know me now. They're like, "Oh, you're the Saturday guy." And you know what girls tell me when they recognize me or they see the shirt?
What?
They'll go like this. They'll go, "I don't want you calling me on my birthday."
That's right.
And I'm sitting there going, "I don't even know who you are."
Okay, you can call me.
That's right.
I'm like, "Oh, we're going to call you."
Right.
Get them all excited. But hey, okay. So on a Saturday, seriously. Well, let me just say on a Saturday and Sunday, I bet you there's 500 plus people that put in at Barry's.
Oh, I don't doubt
definitely.
it.
Now, let me tell you something.
That's within like in a week.
When you walk on that pier, you better be careful. There are old rusty nails.
Okay, and
They're
with that being said, I'm gonna tell you a story. So my uncle Ricky, who was a gold fanatic, he loved gold.
Awesome.
He was in a wheelchair, so we had to pick him up, put him in the boat. Well, he sat down, and the way he fell back, because he's paralyzed, he slung his arm and he hit the side of the boat, and an $800 gold nugget bracelet fell off and goes bloop. And let me just say this, and I want to paint an ugly image in anybody's face. So my uncle goes, dive down there and get it. And I said, you've been smoking crack. He's like, that's $800. I said, we're talking Jackson Lake. I couldn't see the bottom of Jackson Lake. Secondly, we're at the boat ramp. Do you know how many broke beer bottles might be down there?
How many bodies?
But then that other question comes up. If you were to go down there looking for a gold bracelet, what else would you find? Car keys, wallets, cell phones, fingers bodies.
Oh, God, no.
What else would you find
No.
right there that has fallen in? Sunglasses.
As God is my witness, I guarantee
Necklaces.
you'd find a catfish the size of this table, and you'd look at him, and your eyes would get big, and his eyes would get big, and then he'd grin at you, have a little gold tooth
that he took from somebody else.
have a gold grill.
Hell, you might discover a new species of fish in that water.
Yeah, I get you.
But
yeah.
you know that water's got to be pretty deep right there.
And you know
I'm
that
sure
water
they've
is-
dredged it out over the years, but
I don't think so.
come on. No, I'm talking about to make it deeper.
Yeah,
But
you know,
I mean, all that stuff's just sitting there. Can you just even fathom the idea?
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a wheelchair. I just passed wheelchairs when I say that, but there could be a wheelchair down there.
I'm sure there is. Hey,
A bumper.
You know that you should not at any time have any open wounds or get any of that in your digestive system, right?
Look, let me tell you something. Norris Lake. Norris Lake.
Oh Lord.
Years
Lake.
before I got in Norris Lake, they had a neighborhood that was trying to be built in DeKalb County area. And the problem is in said area, they added a subdivision and the sewage system overflowed into Norris Lake. So for a long time, fish were dying, blah, 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 blah. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8 years had gone by. All these CDC people had already been back out there, EPA, telling everybody it was safe. The first time I put the pontoon in it to go tubing, I get like this severe ear infection.
It burns the
Somebody
the
else
aluminum.
got sick too, and we're like, and y'all said it was safe to go back in the water.
Remember when Biolab caught fire?
Yeah.
And they came over there and sprayed 400,000 gallons of water onto chlorine and
Yeah.
it floated.
And where did it wash to?
Yeah, over there by the VW into that pond.
I mean, hello, where did it wash to, people? It went down a sewage system somewhere.
it went somewhere.
The three-eyed fish didn't just appear from nowhere. That's my point. That is exactly my point. Is we're not smarter than average.
Well-
but wait, now here I am saying that wait a minute, Scotty boy. Here I am now saying I want to get in a canoe and go down the Yellow River. And Norris Lake feeds into the Yellow River.
God,
That
what was
feeds Jackson Lake.
What was that name of that subdivision that was about Sunrise?
Scumrise Trailer Park.
Oh my God.
Do you know that as I was plotting out using satellite, plotting out the Yellow River, do you know that the backside of Scumrise is attached to the Yellow River? And I'm talking only like 30 feet. That's what kind of attachment it is. It's only like the backyard's 30
Dude.
feet. There's no telling what's been put in that river.
Do you know how many girls that were on,
The missing list.
edge? Yeah, that they say are in that. Same thing with, remember Pine Lake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they drained
I
Pine
know
Lake.
when they drained Pine- yeah.
Pine Lake, that wasn't cool. They found a lot of stuff.
So if we put in, so I know that if we put in at 124, we can follow it all the way to Georgia 20. At Georgia 20, though, is where the mill is, Millstead's Mill,
Yeah.
and we'll have to get out because at Georgia 20's bridge, right after that is the dam and then the mill, but it's also really rocky, so we'd have to get out at Georgia 20. So we plan on making that trip, and I even was telling myself there will have to be a Glock and a Ziploc bag when we're going behind Scumrise Trailer Park.
You don't have to put a Glock in the bag.
I'm
No,
just
sir.
trying to keep it from getting wet. But
No.
I know you don't have to. I know that.
Yeah.
But my cell phone, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I need to be able to dial 911 after I shoot somebody.
Why? Just throw them in the water.
So,
Just me. I'd throw 'em in the
I
water.
need them to know that the shots fired was from me. Shots fired. It was from me. I'm the guy in the
Man,
canoe with his hand up.
if you call in and you're like, yes, dispatch, I just shot somebody and they're in Scumrise Lake, and they're gonna be like, oh, sorry, you have the wrong number.
That's right. Please hold.
Moon River.
All of a sudden, the canoe's now down at Georgia 20. I'm like, well, I've been a hole for 30 minutes.
So when you get out there at the plant, are you just gonna carry, or are you gonna have somebody pick you up?
Well, I'd have to have somebody carry us. I mean, come pick us up because we're talking 2 or 3 miles
Okay, yeah,
of
that
nothing
would-
but rock.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how far.
Oh yeah, I'll have to show you.
I
I found several places like that. Like I could then get back in before 138 through a subdivision. I found an uncompleted subdivision that we can go into the back. Like it's opened. It's just the back part of the subdivision is not complete. And I can put in, and it'd take about an hour to get from 138 to the horse park. But then right at the horse park, for the next several miles from the horse park to Almond Road, is nothing but trees laying in the water. So
Yeah,
that means
yeah.
we'd either have to go with a machete and clear a path, or just not do it. So I said, I just don't want to do it. So now the next plan is I can get in at Almond Road. There's a road off of Almond Road that attaches the backside of the horse park.
Mhm.
We can get in there and go all the way to the kayak ramp in Porterdale. And that's really about a 7-minute drive, but it takes 3.5 hours on a canoe or a kayak. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be tubing it. So anybody that wants to go tubing, we're going to take the bus and
when are you
drop
planning it?
We're trying to get it planned within the next month or so. Got to do it while it's still hot.
Yeah, let's do an event page on Facebook.
Yeah, we are.
Stuff. That's cool. Yeah,
And we're gonna have the bus, and everybody's gonna get dropped off at the Almond Road.
Yeah.
We're gonna blow up. I found yesterday with some help that Tractor Supply sells inner tubes for tractors for like $9. I'm talking good inflatables, not just some stupid Walmart inflatable. For $20. And then what we're going to do is tie a bunch of these together if we want to, put a cooler of beer and other things in the canoe, and everybody go tubing and make a huge event out of it. Nobody wants to go do that by themselves. So we're going to do a big event out of it.
And you know, Chattahoochee, you have to have, you know, they're going to check you to make sure you're not drinking. They're going to make sure you have a life vest. They're going to charge you $4 for an entry fee. They're going to charge.
How do they do that? It's free to be on the river.
Well, and then too, when you get out of the Chattahoochee, your legs are either going to be blue or red, depending on what they're running up
But
the stream.
but again, how do you think you can charge me for being on a river?
Buddy, it's a government state.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Terrible. Well, let's shoot off the commercial. Thanks for calling in, JD.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. Y'all take care.
I know we overtalked you a little bit, but when you call in, you know it's all just being part of it.
Your family.
Yeah, we don't know whose family, but you're part of something.
You're part of the village, man.
So he's one of the village guys?
Yep.
Are you the Indian or the gay cop?
Which is it?
I'm standing on 3 legs.
Stand on 3 legs?
Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah, so you are the village liar then.
The town jester.
I'm the village idiot.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to call you that. I did.
My job.
I did see the family that you married into.
Oh, wow.
Ba-doom,
Well,
boom.
all right, then I'm not the. I won't touch that.
Don't touch it. Well,
I
you
won't
touched
touch
it once.
that.
You got a kid from it.
I would
All
wear
right, we will see you later, sir.
I'd wear
we'll see
gloves.
All right, bye.
See you, buddy.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back.
9:10 in the morning.
And we got a weird phone number to return. I have no idea what it is.
It's not 540.
No, it's like a 554. All sorts of weird numbers. I'm gonna load 2 songs, and if the music starts playing, you may have to come over here and push the talk button. Cost to the restaurant. I own 3 bathrooms. The baby, I can't go in that room. My wife's doing her hair in that room. I'm like, buddy, I got the pool.
No grunting.
yeah, I go running upstairs and I go, I like this. I'm like, she goes, you can't run in there. The baby's in there sleeping. And I'm looking at her. She's like this with her hair straight. And I'm like, I'm like, I can't go do this down there. Well, I guess I didn't have a choice. I know, but it's that just that thought of you don't while the show's happening, you know.
First thing I'm gonna say when we go back home.
How'd it come out? That goes back to that embarrassing stuff.
I mean, the military.
And then let's talk about that. Let's talk about, I know yesterday we talked about embarrassing things, but talk about things that you've done that you didn't want your family to know about. Like an accident shart, you know? Look, Hyundai's made this concept car my wife wants. It's actually kind of cool, but you can't find it. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Is it electric?
It looks like, damn it, man. An SUV.
Who makes it?
Hyundai. Wait till you see this little booger, man. She wants it. Like she thought it was real. And well, it is real, but it's not manufactured real.
Right there?
No, I'll show you. I don't know if it's considered an SUV.
I know that Lexus is coming up with a hover bike.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh yeah. They just about got it too. They have those hover skateboards.
Right.
That technology.
All right, let's go. Yeah, but I thought that was fake.
What, the hover skateboard?
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, I know there was a thing. We're talking about concepts, right? So I said there's this concept SUV that my wife wants. I'm like, it's real. It's just not being produced. Like it's been made. She saw the video and saw it, and I'm trying to show Mike, and it's like super friggin' cool. But you know how the Avalanche has
the back
window and then the bed opens?
Right.
Well, this concept that she wants does that, and it's
cool.
neat. But then you brought up the
hover. Bikes. Lexus has got them. I mean, the hover skateboard thing or the hover platform thing. Once they got that technology,
but I thought that was all fake. There was some video that was done, and then they busted the video out and said it was all a fake.
I think the one that was supposed to be riding on the magnets was the fake one. But
how does the hover work then?
Blades. I mean, just like a hovercraft. I mean, have you ever seen? They sell.
Oh, so you're saying that it works with a motor?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Is the hoverboard like from Back to the Future?
No,
they called that a hoax.
Yeah, that would be magnetics. But you know, there's roller coasters that work off of magnetics because you can put a charge to a magnet and change its polarity,
right,
and make that thing zip, and then you can make it stop by doing it the opposite way. So I would look for that stuff to be bigger in the future. Probably, but our cars. You saw that little thing I posted in China. I mean, that thing's all fake, but I think it's a great concept.
What?
It's basically because of the material or the mineral content in this one part of China, they have built a vehicle that looks like a bubble, and it just hovers on its magnetic field, and you don't even have to drive it. It's got a heads-up display. It's got GPS. You just tell it what you want to do and where you want to go.
That would be cool, though.
Yeah, have you never seen that video?
No.
Oh crap! It's on.
That's that whole guns and gadgets that I think is going to be
absolutely.
cool. I mean, I'm so super excited because that means all the nerdy stuff that I want to talk about, I can come sit in on the show and talk about.
And now that I'm doing the research, for the planning of the show and everything.
And when do you want to start that, by the way?
I don't know, man. July sounds
Okay.
good. Sometime in
So
July.
we were talking because we don't know what's going on with the Rough Edge right now. So we're talking first, third, second, and fourth. And July is when we were talking about starting the females show, which would be the second week and fourth week. So then that means we can put you on the first and third, rather, not or
of July.
Not the date, but the first week and the third week.
Man, I need can I start at the third week? Give me a little.
Yeah, we can go. Okay. We can go more time
because you got to have enough content, or it's just going to be,
or the first week just be, the first week literally could be, hey, this is Mike. We're formulating this. Anybody that would like to call in and add to this, and then by the third week have it fine tuned.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a work in progress, anyways.
I'll tell you what, the young lady I had that knows about shooting and all, and she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's down at Fort Benning. Man, all of a sudden just kind of backed out. About 2-3 days ago, she said, I've had so many bad experiences with trying to do stuff like this. And I'm like, well, give us a try. We're a lot different. You know, I said, please listen to the show and look at our pages and everything. You'll see that, we take it pretty light and just give me a chance, Right. I said, maybe talk for 5 minutes. I just want to get a woman's perspective.
Well, and that's one reason I like to try to have a woman on the show. Yeah. Doing what we do so that we don't just look like a bunch of,
guys,
men, well, because that's not what it's all about.
I tell you what, I know some absolutely brilliant women in what we're just going to refer to as the gadget field. And I know some absolutely intelligent, aggressive, knowledgeable women in firearms.
Right.
And I think it's because, look, nobody is going to sneak up on me. You see what I'm saying?
Not unless you're asleep.
I am like freaking almost 6 feet tall. I am 300 plus pounds. I walk around like a freaking gorilla dragging my knuckles. I got forearms like Popeye. I don't look like an easy target.
Well, and what are they going to take? Sorry, I had to go there.
That's it. I'm going home.
I had to go there.
No.
What are they targeting you for?
Give me those old army pants you've got. Those old army short.
I mean, I'm already hearing Mr. T's voice. You look mighty good in them shorts.
Come here, let me stick my tongue down your throat.
I mean, what is it that you assume they're going to take?
Yeah,
But seriously, you do look like a target because as you're getting older, they're going to be looking at you carrying your man purse and carrying your tablet.
Yeah,
and they're going to be like, this dude is not going to outrun me, but they don't know he will outshoot you.
Yeah, I was about to say, my gun goes boom.
That's the problem is these idiots.
But you've seen some of the young ladies that I talked to about stuff and like that. Okay, gosh, and you hear the horror stories of guys stalking them. This is one young lady. She was trauma nurse and she just retired out of the military, but she's absolutely beautiful. And she looks just like Jolene, what's her name?
Angelina Jolie?
Yeah, Angelina Jolie looks just like her. Okay. And she, that's the one that I was telling you got her car stolen.
Oh my God.
When she was in the convenience store. So, I'm talking to her and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, where are you? And I'll try to help out and all that other stuff. I said, but this one guy on Facebook, man, he's just freaking out. Are you guys dating or something? And she goes, oh my God, this guy is probably going to be the reason why I can't get any help from anybody. Right. Because he was just blocking everybody. If somebody said, hey, she's over at that. No, she's not. Don't talk to her. I'm trying to call her. And I'm like, hey, Angela, what's going on with that? And she's like, oh my God, he's a freaking stalker. He's a cyber stalker. Never met the guy, but he thinks he owns her,
there again, it's that Facebook cowboyness that, the Facebook has its good qualities, but then again, it does have some very negative, unusual qualities.
Oh God. That was horrible.
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing that I'm bringing up is, Sensei Stabile.
Mm-hmm.
And Sensei Stabile and then Sensei Ginger, his wife, okay? they teach self-defense. I'd love to get them a little bit involved. Maybe have Sensei come by and do a little talk during the show.
And I'm all for that. Remember, I wanted to do some stuff with them beforehand.
Right. And, then I've been talking to some local advertisers, and of course I know the ranges, the indoor ranges. I think because the initial concern when you and I first were talking about this in a planning meeting was some of the gadgets get doggone expensive. And it's hard to do a radio show. I mean, you can paint the picture, and that's one of the things. That
you will have to learn to be more of a painter.
Yeah, you definitely.
I mean, I need you to watch the dude on PBS and be like,
yeah.
And as you see me take the clip out of the gun, I want you to realize that this is a lot of large ammo, and I love playing with my big toys. And then take your paintbrush and paint some little fuzzy rabbits, and as you're painting these fuzzy rabbits, keep in mind that we will be putting the laser dot right on that fuzzy rabbit.
Oh my god! There's a story in the news about somebody freaking with a rabbit today. That's crazy. No, but here's what I was thinking about doing is grabbing the camera and going to the range, and both of these ranges are very, 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 very. They're very intelligent. They're very customer.
Which ranges are very intelligent?
You've got Shots Fired in Porterdale. And
are you friends with the guy that owns that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to go speak with the owner and bypass a couple of the guys that work there and go straight to the owner.
Sometimes they're a little protective. And then the range up in Monroe, which is probably my favorite range in the whole wide world. It's called the Trading Place, but it has an indoor range, and those guys are magnificent. I teach classes, and here again, whenever I say this, people start calling me. Listen, I'm extremely expensive. You will be happy. I've never had any unsatisfied customers, but let me explain something. Before you call me, just understand up front that I'm the most expensive instructor probably in the Southeast.
But we're talking about guns, man. You're playing with guns. You need to be taught by somebody. Listen, just because the dude down the road charges you a 6-pack to teach you how to shoot, don't make it safe, y'all. I'm just like,
let me tell you something. In this day and age, everybody and their brother is carrying weapons. And let me explain to you. If you take a $25 or a $50 course where you may shoot 2 or 3 magazines full at one target, take it home and go, look how well I did. Or if you spend two days of the 3-day course looking at PowerPoint presentations, let me tell you something. I ain't never seen a PowerPoint presentation stop someone from getting dead.
Here's my thing. I try to make people understand. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
So you're at the range, you and your husband, and you're shooting at a target, and you shoot center mass every time, and you say, oh, I am so accurate. Look at the way I can shoot. Bing. Let me explain something to you. That's you in a controlled environment with no stress shooting. Just because you can pull the trigger, just because you can hold it 3 seconds and squint your eye and aim it to shoot center mass does not mean in a heated, stressful situation that you will accurately pull the gun out of wherever you have it. Right. I'm not even talking about accurately shooting. I'm talking, are you going to be able to frantically get it out of your purse? Are you going to be able to frantically get it off of your hip? Yeah. Are you going to get it hung under your shirt? Are you going to get it hung pulling it out of your bra? Are you going to be trained enough to be able to legitimately pull it out safely? Or do you think you're going to have that 30 seconds? Excuse me, sir, could you hold? I got to get my gun and aim it at you.
Do over. Hey, check this out.
Mulligan.
The first basic class is me coming to you and me trying to talk you out of the training.
Right.
That's the first thing. And I always tell people, we don't talk money. We don't do nothing. I want to find out what your objectives are. Why do you want to carry a gun? And then I swear up and down, I will do everything in my power to talk you out of it. And I can have people call you that I've trained and they'll say, yeah, he works real hard to work himself out of business. The next thing is, do you know where I meet my clients? In the parking lot. Do you know why?
Parking lot where?
At the range.
Okay.
You know why?
Because you're going to talk to them before they get inside and get gun happy?
No. Here's the thing. Do you know how many women or guys that have never shot are immediately intimidated when they walk into a range.
Oh yeah.
Because
But then what about the ones that are like, ooh, I want that gun. I want that gun. And they get all gun trigger happy and they don't even know what they're looking at yet.
Well, here's the thing is I basically ask folks that have never shot or don't shoot or let's just say the noob. Okay. They're going to be firing my weapons because I know my weapons are in good working order.
Right.
Okay. Now, the first thing that I ask someone to do is to load the weapon out in the parking lot, but we don't use any ammo. It's kind of like a fake thing. So if it's a revolver, I want to see if they can handle it, and click it. But most of the time it's a semi-automatic. So they've got to slide it back.
Right.
Now, you know what? I've seen the little itty bittiest woman in the world go like this and go, okay. And I'm like, perfect, great.
Right.
But then I've seen big burly guys like me.
Right.
Damn thing. So I have a way of training people to do it that I used in the military. And it's very quick. It's very easy. And here's the key. It's safe.
Yes.
It's safe to do it this way. So I teach them that. They have to demonstrate to me before we walk in there that they can safely load that weapon and they can handle that weapon and keep the bad end.
The bad end?
Away from people. Okay, so then when they go in there, we stop at the front door.
Right.
We read all the warning signs. I explain to them what these mean. We go in, and this is one of the things I like to do, is I immediately introduce them to the staff. Because you know what? There ain't a freaking range in the world that I can't go into and at least hold my own. Okay. So when I walk in there, and of course they know me, but when I walk in there and I say, hey, Bob, this is Scotty. Scotty's going to be my student over the next, probably takes about 2-3 months to complete the course, depending on, when he can come and all. But hey, if Scotty ever comes in, he's going to ask for you, Bob. Is that cool? Hey, Jerome, come over here. I'd like you to meet Scotty. You see what I'm saying? Now let me tell you what this does. If you come in there to practice later on, 6 months down the road, that guy goes, hey, Scotty, how's it going,
remember
man?
you.
Yeah,
personally.
I remember you. And you know what? He knows that you trained with me.
Right.
So there ain't going to be no
worry, stress. Right.
And I tell you what, man, practice is the most important thing. And you're absolutely right. People want to conceal that weapon in places, and I look at them and I go, draw your weapon. And they're like, huh? And I go, draw your weapon. And as soon as they go for it, I grab their arm. And, we're like spinning around in circles. Yeah. I said, this is really the way you want to do it.
Right.
That guy was shot in Atlanta yesterday. You hear about that? 3 guys walked up to him, shot him in his car, trying to steal his car.
And, and me, I bumped my elbow. I mean, you see how I'm sitting now.
Yeah.
I bumped my elbow on my pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Every chance I get, I bump my pistol with my elbow. And people go, what are you doing? I'm like, just make sure it's there. Yeah. Because you forget. You get so accustomed to wearing it. It's like, did I leave the house with it? Did I leave it in the car? Because when I'm in the car, I don't have it on my hip. I have it laying right there in between the seats on my console.
Yeah.
Because let's face it. Okay, if you're wearing your shirt untucked, your seatbelt goes over your hip. What does that indicate? Your seatbelt's over your shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're driving and you wear your gun on your right hip, that also means that the buckle that fastens the seatbelt is basically over your gun as well. So how do you plan on reaching for your pistol? You don't. You're stuck. You're screwed. And, it is what it is.
And the biggest, I tell people all the time about carrying a gun and stuff like that is one, you have to be very situational awareness. You got to be looking around and all that other stuff. But the next thing is if you pull that thing, you better be ready to shoot.
Well, with me, I'm very, and I guess it's because of who I am and what I do for a living, and the fact that I have had people follow me places. When I get out at Walmart, I don't hide the fact that I'm putting my gun on my hip. I make sure I pull the right-hand side of my shirt up. I make sure it's very obvious that I'm putting a gun on before I walk into that Walmart. And the reason I do that is if anybody is watching me, they just saw, oh, yeah, he just put his gun on. Because if you're walking from your car to Walmart, you are a victim in the waiting.
Absolutely.
Anybody in the world could jump out between 2 cars and grab you. Yeah. Females especially.
Absolutely. Carrying 3 bags of groceries in their purse.
So I'm very
with your keys in your hand.
yes, I'm very very easy with that. And let me tell you something else I learned a long time ago when I was that kid that got in trouble. You don't realize what your car keys can do. Do you know your car keys can shatter a windshield? Do you know that car keys hitting somebody in their face, if you hit somebody right between the eyes on their nose area, will water their eyes up, which gives you a few seconds to run. If you hold your keys properly, they act as a knife.
Absolutely.
You can stab somebody in the ribs with your keys. You can cut somebody across their face with your keys.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do all sorts of things with your keys, and people don't even think like that. But that's why when I'm walking to the car, half the time I got my keys in my hand, because if somebody's going to hit me, I may lose the remote to my car, but I'm most likely going to shatter your windshield. Sorry, but that's just facts.
Well, I mean, and like I said, Sensei Stabile and Sensei Ginger over at the Aikido School of Self-Defense, they teach a self-defense class. Now, I'll get in touch with them, but I don't know how much it cost. When I was working with them, excuse me, it was like, a $5 donation if you wanted to. And he generally didn't ask for it until the end of the class to make sure you were satisfied.
Right.
But here's the thing. You're not going to go to an Aikido dojo and in 3 hours learn how to protect yourself.
And you remember, you might want to call him, because there was that time I wanted to do an event there where we could just come in and for protection of ladies. And since we're starting the ladies' night,
right? Yeah,
this would be awesome to do a just for fun Saturday where people can see his studio and get a basic idea of a little bit of protection. And you with their fake gun and him with the fake gun, he could show how to, if somebody pulled a gun, just a couple of quick demonstrations of what to do.
He will more than likely use one of his students.
Right. Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But that way people can get a taste of reality. In that way, anybody local may attend his studio, and anybody local that may want to see you about the gun stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
And overall, we would just be bringing in awareness.
Here it is, community stuff again.
There you go.
So yeah, that's I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah, and I attempted to do that a long time ago, but honestly, I gotten so busy. Yeah. I've had some people trying to reach out to me. They're like, "Dude, I've been trying to get you for a week," and I'm like, "Well, you text me in the middle of my show."
I try to tell people that
too. And then you want me to get back with you later, but then you don't get back with me later either, because my day, as soon as the show's over, I've got how many people I got to get back to. And I tell people, if you don't hear from me in an adequate amount of time, sometimes you just got to call me. Don't send me something on Facebook and just expect that to be the way. And don't just call me and expect that to be the way. You got a text message. You can text me. Sometimes I hate to say it, and I don't want to say I'm so busy that I can't talk to people, but it's like for every one person that I do answer the phone call, just think I put you off 2 times. So the person I'm on the phone with now is somebody that got put off 2 times too. So yowzer. That's why I try to send people to you and Steph and take some of the burden off.
Yeah. I mean, and it's cool. I mean,
if little Richard sends me any kissy text messages anymore, I'll be like, dude, you send those back to Steph. I didn't need that.
I got to tell you that, we are basically overwhelmed in
little Richard. I'm going to Wolverine somebody, and he's got his keys between his fingers.
Absolutely. I have that monkey fist on the end of mine that Ken Morgan made that for me.
Yeah. But that's the facts. People need to remember is in a case where it's an emergency and you are fearing for your life, anything that could be used as a weapon, use it as a weapon. I mean, look, if you walk up to me, people don't realize this. When I'm walking out of Walmart, in my left hand is my iPhone. And the reason my key's in my right hand and my iPhone's in my left hand is I can take this and hit you on your Adam's apple and you ain't getting up. You let me crush your Adam's apple with my cell phone. And as you're laying there sucking for air, I'm walking to the car with the very same phone I just hit you with. And I'm going, doop, doop, doop. 911. Yes. There's a guy laying in the parking lot who can't breathe right now. You might want to get somebody here. Oh, yes, he tried to attack me.
He's clumsy.
Because this hard case, this Pelican case on this phone, if you turn this phone running straight, and man, you'll crush a nose.
You know what I think over the years?
People just don't think.
Well, over the years of training people and being in the situation where I had to do it, listen, you can be aware of your surroundings without walking around paranoid.
Oh, yeah.
People think, I got to be. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can relax. You can goof. You can talk.
If they're not within 5 feet of you, you're safe.
Well, law says 21 feet.
Well,
as far as dead
I'm saying I'm not freaking out. If you're walking 12 feet behind me and you just happen to start speeding up, I may step left or go to a different direction. And then if you keep following me, then we know something's wrong.
Well, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I went over to
it's all based on situation, by the way.
I went to the Rib Shack, and the only seat that was available was a booth all the way in the corner where the TV is like right there, right above your head. And so for me to watch TV, I can't look at the restaurant. So I had to make a decision. I said, look, it's full lunch crowd. I'm just going to sit and watch TV. Right. So I'm watching TV, and I'm using, because obviously behind me are the windows.
Right. So you're seeing the reflection in the window.
Okay. So there's some shiny stuff over here. Well, as I'm waiting, nobody comes all the way that far to the restaurant. So as I'm waiting for my food, okay, I've got my phone out and all that other stuff. Well, as soon as he's walking up, now he's still probably about 10, 15 feet away from me, I see that the reflection changes. So I go like this and I start moving my stuff.
Right.
And I'm still looking at TV, and he goes, dude, how'd you know I was coming to you? And it's like, I just, I get a feeling.
Right.
But I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't. And you know what? I think in this day and age, to counter the bad folks that are out there, and I'm just going to, I know it's late. I'm just going to say this real quick. Being that I've traveled in third world countries, and being that I've dealt with different religions and all that other stuff, I can tell you right now, you can see it in our country as we're starting to get to that knee-jerk reaction, if we're like the flag and all that other stuff, and mob mentality, what's going to happen next is a fear. So now you're going to walk past each other on the street,
right,
and you're not going to say hello, and you're not going to
people are going to do that,
and then you're going to get that separation thing, and then it's going to start looking. It's going to start looking like the villages in freaking southern Afghanistan, because everybody's just they're going to pull back, they're going to stay in their houses. It was really weird in Afghanistan to be up in a tower and watch hundreds of people walking by each other and no one ever going, hey man.
It's going to be like New York. I mean, that's how everybody there is.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it like that. I just
everybody needs to just become a tighter knit town where everybody knows everybody and everybody keeps up with everybody. And then if you go back to treating everything like Mayberry, everybody's a little more open and they see, and less crime happens because everybody's talking.
Yeah. I just think there's so many groups out there, and I'm not going to get all political, but I was reading about one yesterday, and they hate everybody. It's simple. And they want their own country. Right. Here in the United States and stuff like that. So no matter if we sit here as intelligent adults and we discuss this type of stuff and we say, hey, we'd like to see church back in school, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Let's be realistic. We're not going to go backwards. We're not going to turn into madmen. We're not going to turn into Leave It a Beaver. It's just impossible to go that direction.
Unfortunately, it's going to be kind of like some of the stuff in Colorado or in Arizona where the Mormons have their own area.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen is everybody's going to start moving to their own area, being around their own people.
And I think that's just migratory in our species.
Right. But I don't see anything wrong with it.
By no means.
You want to, that's why I said I wish the states, I was watching the thing about the Alamo, and it was all about how Texas had to become its own republic for a minute. And the brilliant part is okay, if you want to be high where it's legal to smoke marijuana, you move to that state. And I think that would be awesome if everybody would just pick and choose where they want to live, because you have that right. Pick up and leave Georgia if you don't like the flag that's being flown. If you don't like something, leave. Go to where you do like it. Instead of everybody trying to cater to everybody, just say, go where you want to go.
And you're bringing up a good point, and a lot of people say, why do I have to leave? You change it. But here, let's do this. Let's look at it this way. Okay, if you don't like the flag, don't look at the flag. There are channels on TV that I don't like.
Don't watch them. That's my point.
And it doesn't bother me a bit.
I was reading something about people trying to bash Stone Mountain again, and people are like, I don't go there. Okay, you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't care.
You like chicken wings or you don't like chicken wings?
Yeah, if you don't
like staring at Hooters, don't go to Hooters.
A little dead air there. We did that on purpose.
Just saying.
We did that because there's nobody doesn't like Hooters.
That's right.
And I ain't talking about the restaurant.
I'm just saying, if you don't like shopping Kmart, don't go to Kmart.
Yeah, man.
If you that's why we have so many options in this world.
You want to jump all up and down on the flag and everybody get together and burn it and protest and all that.
Go to Mexico where our flag don't fly.
Yeah, man. Because as much as you're upset about what's going on, we're upset watching you.
Right. Well, everybody is. That's the good thing about it is everybody's free to do what they want, and that was my point. I wish the states would kind of. You can't do it, even though it's just sounds so nice. So, say our state goes fair tax, and if people don't like fair tax, then go to a different state.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear San Diego is great if you're gay. I hear Alaska's great if you want to be living near the wilderness and get beautiful scenery.
Yes, sir.
People like Boston, go to Boston.
Yeah.
People like those Baltimore Ravens, then, go for it.
Whatever. Hey, you like why don't, and I'm not going to say it's because of the jobs, because the job market sucks, man. You see what I'm saying? People aren't.
Well, there's plumbers there just like there's plumbers here.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, how many people stay? A friend of mine has been with the government, CDC, for 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
And got a really, really nice certificate for 20-something years.
Yeah.
I'm sure she gets paid well.
What happened to the gold watches?
I don't think anybody does it. And the Rolex that they used to use for that was only a $500 Rolex.
Well, still, it was a Rolex.
Yeah.
You'll see lustful pictures. There you go. I threw Mike off. There's pictures of my hot wife up there. And Mike, I knew that was just going to tongue time, so I figured I might as well just.
So now I got my breath.
I knew I'd just go ahead and throw that out on her and watch him choke up.
She's a showstopper. She is. She's one of those ladies that when you see her, you're impressed, and then when you speak to her, she's intelligent, she's articulate. I bet you she whoops your ass too.
She has had her moments.
I bet you you're a battered husband.
No, it never gets to be like that. There's no reason for that.
Not.
No, it's
you better not ever argue with her.
If my wife ever had to raise her hand to me, thank you, ma'am. May I have another?
I'll give you just 15 minutes to
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yep, absolutely.
I'd be like, Scotty's been bad today, Mama.
I could have went all day without hearing that one.
And then I probably would have looked at her and I'd be like, you hit like a girl. Here, hit me right there. To the left, I said. To the left.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So Ravens, I like the South better because he knows where he's from.
Where's he from?
Baltimore.
Yeah, so that was the Ravens joke.
Yep.
Cool. I tell you what, I live in Loganville now, Loganville, Georgia, and Loganville, Georgia is different than Conyers, Georgia, and it's 5 minutes away from each other. So it is.
Somebody's asking if somebody's single, and I need you to be more specific. Because you can't just type, is he single? Because he could be a number of people.
I am single, if that's who you're asking.
I'm just saying, you got to be a little more specific than that. Not Pacific, specific.
What was the conversation the other day? You told me, you said, I can handle your dating situation. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you just need to lower your standards.
Yes, I was making the joke saying that. Here's the problem. We were making the joke about this one guy who, for lack of better terms, will just anything in the bar. And Mike made the comment. He's like, oh my God, how is that guy getting... And I can't even get a date. Yeah, like how's he boinking two and I can't even get a date? And I went, Mike, you just have to lower your standards. And then I looked at Mike and said, truthfully, you could be like him and just have no standards.
Don't even bring it into the mix.
Mike's just like, I can't believe you just told me I need to lower my standards. I went, that's not what I meant. What I just meant was if you'll lay down with anything, then there you go.
I have extreme standards, but hey, that's why I'm single. I guess I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining. There's no complaints here. I am a very difficult individual. I am high maintenance.
So she says, your co-host, and then in large letters, oh my God. So now I don't know what "Oh my God" was for, because you're 30 seconds behind us in reality,
Yeah,
and by the
there's no
time
telling.
and by the time I answer the text messages, we may be a minute behind reality.
It may be, oh my God. I mean, listen.
She
to
listens to the show, but she's not learned to keep up with us yet. You have to spell it out. Whatever you want us to do or say, you have to spell out. And then also, if you don't want me to talk about it on air, before you type your sentence, and then, okay, little Richard learned this. He typed this full sentence, and then at the end of the full sentence, he says, but don't read this on air.
Oh, yeah.
No. If you don't want it read on air, you first say, I'm about to send you something. Don't read it on air. And then go space, and then type what you don't want me to say on air, because she's typing now, by the way. But once you send me something, most likely I may be reading it on air, because you are sending it to a live radio show. And I do see the little dots where she's typing right now.
I like when you see the little dots and then they disappear.
So she says, I was asking if Mike, your co-host, is single.
Yes, Mike is single. Mike is single, and you know what? Mike's okay with being single, because Mike's been in bad relationships, and Mike doesn't want to be in any more bad relationships.
Yes.
Look, I bring a lot to the party. I ain't gonna lie. I absolutely and positively have done romantic things that are off the charts, and
right.
I just I look for reciprocation. That's the thing for me.
I looked for a reciprocating saw in your garage. You couldn't find it.
I'm looking for someone.
She's typing again.
Who thinks about me when they're not with me, just like I would think about them.
Listen, I don't need to play that song, I Touch Myself, do I?
Oh, I do. If you'd be quiet, I could finish. I mean,
oh, my God. Thank God we're at 9:50 and the show's about over.
Almost over.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I don't drive an expensive car. I don't live in a big expensive house. Material things. I
like my toys.
Yeah, I mean, I got gadgets, go. I love little electronic stuff. I'm really starting to get into this solar power thing, and you know what that leads to? Solar power, then wind. And my brother's got all that property up there by the horse park. I'm gonna be building little micro wind turbines.
Well, I keep saying I'm gonna build me a couple of wind turbines, and I already have it kind of designed in my head.
They got micro ones.
My problem is finding time to do all these stuff.
You know that, and for wind, I understand if you do not have a constant,
if you don't have a constant wind, it's worthless.
5 to 10 knot. Mm-hmm. It's not going to do anything.
Like my uncle lives out of Circle, and they have a constant breeze. Mm-hmm. It's awesome out there.
See, he lives up at the horse park up there on the top of the hill, mm-hmm. overlooking the horse park, overlooking Cherokee Run Golf Course. And if I took a 20-foot pole mm-hmm. and mounted it in one of the top of the trees, so it's sitting 20 feet above that,
right.
The thing's it's about as big as your tripod.
Right.
And that alone could generate enough electricity. And, the mandate is that if he generates more than he uses, the municipality has to buy it back.
Well, I've been looking at some of these micros. The problem is trying to find one that's a decent size mm-hmm. for a decent price. Like I found one that the motor itself is about as big as a football. Mm-hmm. The overall, and then you'd have your blades at one end and a fin at the other. Yeah. So it was probably 2 feet long, but the problem is it's like $1,000. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, but how much is your electricity bill every
month? I know.
I mean, my brother has a huge complex, basically. I mean, that beautiful pool that I post pictures at, that's his place, He has a huge, beautiful home.
And what I was thinking about doing is I already have 2 solar panels, and I get such a great bit of sun in the morning time. I was thinking I could take my 2, I have 2 6-volt golf cart batteries that I was going to use in the bus. Mm-hmm. I said, I was telling myself I could stick those on the back porch, put my solar panel to keep them charged, and then at night run LEDs and in the bed, in the living room, mm-hmm. and possibly run my TV mm-hmm. all night long. That would save.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm thinking about doing it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. You got to kind of I have to be really,
I have all the stuff, though. I have every bit of the stuff to do it sitting in the garage. I just haven't found time to do it.
For me, I got to really be in the mood to do that stuff. I designed what's called a polyhedral glider.
See, this is why guns and gadgets, y'all.
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying, guns and gadgets.
One of the first things we're talking about is a polydihedral glider. And it's got solar panels in the top, and it's got a pod basically with a prop. And when the prop's not going, inertia keeps the prop out. But when you turn it off, the prop folds back.
Right.
So theoretically, you can fly this glider all day.
Wow.
And me and my son designed it, and never built it. But
right.
I mean, I've got a solar panel at the house that I've been testing with the electric motors, and so you kind of got to be in the mood, you know.
Well, how about this? Then this is something, because I've done so much just going over this for years. Do you know that an AC motor, such as your fan, your ceiling fan, when you're using electricity, the electricity spins the fan, and that moves your air. But do you know that if you unplug it from the wall and you physically spin it at a certain RPM, you will actually produce electricity. You just have to have it. It just has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I was looking at treadmills, and do you know that in your brain, you're like, man, that treadmill is hard to make it walk without it being plugged in. But do you know that if you physically made it move, you're working out more so than just working out on a regular treadmill, but you would actually be producing electricity by walking on the treadmill. And people don't realize all these things.
Yeah, you can they have these little things that it basically clamps on the side of your treadmill, and it's like a chain tensioner. And basically when you're doing your exercise, you just clip it down, and the little wheel, your energy is now turning that wheel, and it goes back over. And obviously you have to have some type of storage facility.
And I wish I had a creek in the backyard, because I've watched how to make a meal. And I watched a guy build one and do 4 or 5 different YouTube things about it. He's got a steady flowing creek. He took a GM alternator off a Saturn. And the good thing is the alternator is already 12 volts, and it already has a voltage regulator in there. And as long as that thing's moving, he's producing electricity that goes to a battery bank. And because it has a voltage regulator, once the batteries are charged, the mill keeps moving. It just doesn't charge the batteries until the batteries die.
Do you know?
I'm like, what a friggin' easy concept.
You could use a koi fish pond pump and pump the water from the lake up to something up here, and then it could run back down. And when it runs back down, they could turn the paddle. You see what I'm getting at? And
if you did it correctly, it would actually, you could produce more electricity if it's geared right than what the pump takes to run it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they claim, and I've seen a video, they claim that one motor can't produce another motor, electricity. In other words, you can't get electricity from the same object.
Right.
But what they did is they show a guy take a dual grinder. It's the grinder wheel on one side, and then it has the steel brush on the other. And it takes electricity to run this. Okay. But then he has a fan belt hooked to the pulley that goes to another motor. Okay. So he has 2 receptacles with a switch, one that's from your house AC and one that comes off the motor that he's spinning with the grinder. You follow me?
Yeah.
So he has it switched on A, which means he's powering up this grinder with your house electricity. He gets it spinning. It's turning the belt to the AC motor that's producing electricity.
Yep.
He then switches to B, which is coming off of the motor he's spinning, and they are, one's producing power and the other one's making the motor run that's producing the power. I'm like, duh. All you'd have to do then is put a bigger gear on it to produce more electricity than it takes to run this motor, and you'd be able to run this motor and charge batteries and run lights. And see, I'm telling you, Guns and Gadgets are gonna be a cool.
I think it's really gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be really neat, and I'm digging it. And there's so many groups, and there's so many newsletters and all this other stuff, and I've been reading, and it's just,
well, the cool thing is that we can get involved with some of these survivalists. You know, these survivalists think differently than us.
Absolutely.
So I'm in a place one time, and I'm on the way somewhere. I was actually on my way to Knoxville, and I stopped in a Walmart because I knew I was going to be camping out that night. So I started to get a night light, and I was trying to get a battery powered light. And this guy, this survivalist dude, walks in because, you know, I'm up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And he said, What you looking for? I said, I was just looking at getting this. And he said, well, let me show you a couple things. And you know what I didn't really think about? So take these lights that you have going down your sidewalk in your yard.
Mm-hmm.
They're solar powered.
Right.
They charge all day long.
Mm-hmm.
When your lights go out and you try to figure out how to get lights, you walk out there and take the ones from your sidewalk and you take them in there and put them on your kitchen table. They will light your house up. He was explaining to me that he has these things all over the place. So he lives off the grid. He says, I stick them out in the daytime.
Yeah.
They charge up. He says, I bring them in the house at night. He says, I totally live off the grid when I go camping.
Now, I don't know.
Well,
about you.
I say camping, but he's actually living that way.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about you, but when like I'm in my bedroom at night, the only light you see is the glare off the tablet or the laptop. I never, unless I actually need light to read,
Mm-hmm.
and then I use small lighting,
Right.
Or LED lighting.
Well, I'm tempted to do when the winter gets here and I can get in my attic to run a bunch of 12-volt type lighting with LED stuff and run on the batteries.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be charging in the daytime.
Absolutely. And you're in the direct sunlight.
I got plenty
you got
of
sunlight
sun.
Almost all day. You got the good strong sun. Too.
Well, and I've even thought about if I go up to the peak of my house, all I'd have to do is, and put a motor on it, think of the seesaw effect. Have my solar panel this way, and then when a timer happens at 12 o'clock, it levels up. At 3 o'clock, it tilts the other way. I would have forever amount of sun.
Yeah. They actually have devices that will do it automatically.
Yeah, I'm just saying if I wanted to do it yourself. I'm telling you, Guns and Gadgets, man, y'all get ready for that show because we're going to be going crazy with that.
Awesome.
And then Ravens, wow, I feel dumb. Never thought about using landscape lights. That's my point. It's not that I'm saying the point is you feel stupid. I'm saying we don't think that way. This survivalist dude gave me a list of contacts. God, I wish I could find them now because there's all these survivalists that live all over the world.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
And that feeling that Chris is saying, wow, I never thought about that, is the same feeling I had. Like in my bus, he's like, so what lights are you using in your bus? I said, well, because I have 3 deep cycle batteries in the bus, I can run TVs, I can do all that. He says, well, when you're at these events, he said, why don't you have your solar panels out? Which is why I bought the solar panels before I got 3 deep cycles, because I can actually turn the bus on and charge the batteries up in a few minutes. So, I mean, I learned I didn't need the solar panel for that. But the point is like he's saying, when you're at these events, you take these solar lamps and you just set them outside where you're at these events and you're not thinking they're charging all day long. And then when you go back in there, you've got lanterns that are solar powered. And I'm like, I never thought about it.
Yep.
And on top of that, they actually have, like, I have 2 solar panel spotlights that you're using to shine up in trees. Well, think about it. If you take that in your house, it now acts as a flashlight.
Yep.
Meaning it's not just lighting the room, it's lighting whatever direction, that you're aiming it. So it's really a very, very cool idea.
I think so.
I'm right in the middle of a show. Give me a second. I'll dial you right back. All right, everybody. It's 10:02. We're fixing to cut this puppy off. Everybody have a great day.
Whoop, whoop.
Everybody's looking at their clocks and it read 10:02. So they're like, the show's over, but no.
Yeah.
So we're fixing to get out of here. Everybody have a great day. Remember, Guns and Gadgets. There's so many cool things to think about when it comes to this stuff. Like, I bet a lot of people don't know that if the water temperature, if the sunlight, I was going to talk about purifying water. We'll save it for Guns and Gadgets. There are so many cool things out there that you don't realize.
Come up with some hand signals. We got guns.
Quit doing the shocker, dude. You're doing the shocker. That's who in the and the one in the and you don't do that hand signal.
Guns.
West Side.
Guns and gadgets.
You would have to do like the peace sign, right?
Yeah,
if you're going to be nerdy gadgets, peace. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure it out.
But this will be cool. It really will be a good show because there's a lot of us that's going to want to, like Chris. Wow, I never thought about the solar powered lights. Well, duh. This guy says that he has 10 of these lights. That's what he told me then. He says, I have 10 of these lights, and he apparently has a cabinet he's built. Mm-hmm. He says what he does is he takes all 10 out in the morning and lets them charge. He says what he does is he rotates a couple because if he still needs them inside, if it's dark enough to run them. He says, but the cool thing is You only really need X. He says if you got 10 lights and they've charged all day, he said they're only good for about 3 or 4 hours of light.
Yeah, so you cut them off.
He says what I do is I cut on one. When that one starts dying, I cut on another. And he said the next day I take them and go lay them back on the front porch. They charge again. It's like, how simple is this? And nobody thinks that way.
Yeah, and I mean, after what? I mean, midnight for normal people, 11 to midnight. That's when you go to bed. If you don't have any lights. It's a weird thing with me, you know.
Oh, well. It's one of them things.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, what I hear, everybody. You can tell my voice is getting raspy. I hadn't been taking drinks of this water. Everybody have a great day. It's Just Fun in the Morning. We will see you tomorrow. I have no idea who's going to be here tomorrow. We never know. If you want to come sit in, you're more than welcome to sit in, but you must be a talker.
Rock.
If you can't talk, then you'll just have to sit and watch. You'll be a peeping Tom, a Voyager.
You got rock, paper.
Or he's doing
scissors.
He's doing hand symbols like we're playing rock, paper, scissors.
Praying Mantis strike.
Oh my God. Panda go nut. I mean, he's going to be doing all stuff. Crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
Crouching tiger, hidden snack bar.
Everybody, it's Just Fun in the Morning. We will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. As usual, thanks for participating in the Just for Fun Nation.
Yeah, try not to take things so serious.
What?
I was just trying to tell people.
What?
Try to today for Military Mike. For today, just try not to take.
Well, I got a commercial that's on the old computer before all this crashing happened, and I used to say, "Don't take anything serious." You know why? Because it's just for fun.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, that's half the problem of the world is everybody takes it way too serious. Way too serious. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all later on. It's Just Fun in the Morning. Take care.
Guns and deuces or rock, paper, scissors. Dynamite.
Okay, we'll see y'all later.
Oh, look.
We're doing hand symbols.
It could be.
Bye on the radio. We're at it on the radio, but we're still going to keep talking on the radio, on the video.
Point. Get it? Hollow point. Never mind.
Hollow point? What would that be?
Holla point.
Holla? So it'd be like this. Holla point.
Holla gun.
Oh, God. What did we get into? All right, everybody. We'll see y'all later on.